Who's the baddest? What's going on, Conscious crew? Who's bad, baby? Consciouztv, clearly the. Hope you guys are having a wonderful week, girl. TGIF. I know y'all tired assholes. Ain't sick and tired of being silent. Ain't sick and tired of being sick and tired, baby. So shout out to Friday, honey. It is the day that the Lord has made for a working ass motherfucker. Also, y'all see the title, but before we get into the thick of it, grim, we're gonna be keeping it $150 tonight. All right, I need you guys to run the likes all the way up. You guys know that thumbing up the video not only helps with YouTube's algorithm, but more importantly, it triggers up YouTube's notification system. So when you are thumbing up the video, you are literally knocking on the digital door of another conscious crew member and telling them to get their black asses into the sanctuary, because the Kang gets impact what? Kang gang. Also, if you enjoy everything that Kang does here, baby, and Kang be working, baby, all day and night to bring you the tea. You can always donate to the platform on Cash App at $Consciouztv and or PayPal.me/Consciouztv. And of course, that's conscious spelled with the Z on the end, just like it is here on the channel. All donation information and social media handles are in the description box below, as well as scrolling from right to left at the bottom of the live stream in red and white. Get into it. Also, make sure that you have your notification bell set to all. And last but not least, please share the stream out to wherever it is you have digital community, whether that be your YouTube community wall, your Snapchat, your MySpace, your outside of Twitter, Tumblr, or your personal OF. I don't really give a damn where you infect the link. Just let them know that we're live, and we're certainly in color. And with no further ado, let's go ahead and push on through.
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, what's going on, Conscious crew? And shout out to Brody, who's an old nasty piece of subscriber. Been watching your videos for the last couple of days and enjoying your energy and commentary. That I don't give a damn is how I don't give a damn, baby. Shout out to the new subbies. What's going on, Brody? Welcome to the kingdom. What's going on, Todd? Hey, Dana. What's going on? What's going on, Keisha? Oh, come on live now. It's the clock in, reporting loud, live, and in color from the motherfucking bush. Shout out to my bush baby. What's going on, Carolyn? What's going on? I am Muhura. I love that name, Muhura. It sounds very West African-y. What's going on, Sherry? Hey, Robert. What's going on, Tara? Hey, Nurse Moonshine. What's going on, Lady D? Hey, y'all. So you guys know what we got to get into, girl. We got a few things that we got to bust down before we got to get up out of here. I know y'all got ass to shake, and ladies are supposed to be getting in free before midnight, baby. So we're going to try to do this in a very timely fashion. And, of course, I can't come and talk to y'all about no LGBTQ ass subject matter without bringing the king of the damn Rainbow Coalition to the front of the line. No other than Bubs the God. Hi, Bubs.
What's going on, Kane? What's going on, Conscious? I'm about to say Conscious True. Lord,
And
Conscious crew. And it's true. It's a true
forever.
crew. It's how the universe works in certain ways. What's going on? It's your favorite leprechaun, Bubs the guy here. And yeah, we about to get into this. No shade. No shade.
And before we do, please let the folks know where they can find you at and what you do out here on social media, so they can also subscribe to your kingdom.
Of course, you can definitely follow me here on YouTube, Bubs the God, Instagram, Bubs the God. I do have a photography page called Media by Bubs. You guys can follow that as well. And hell, you can do the Cash App, girl. It ain't Bubs the God, but it's Consciouztv. PayPal Bubs the God. So you can find me in multiple different ways. I'll let you decide which way you want that to be. But what's going on?
And always make sure you add the disclaimer when you're using my Cash App to put in the note for Bubs.
Oh, yes. Make sure y'all do that.
Yeah, because they may not know to do that.
Oh, well.
If
you've been over here listening, I hope you've been remembering.
So he's using my Cash App, y'all. So if you Cash App him on Consciouztv, because his Cash App is down right now, just put in the note bub so that the coin can go straight to the leprechaun's pot of gold.
Thank you kindly.
Okay, so we got to get into an update tonight, you guys. You guys know that we have been following the DL Whisperer and Mother Madison's criminal case from the very beginning, girl. The chains have refused to be broken upon the Whisperer, girl. He's been now out of sight and damn near out of mind for 40 days and 40 long plus nights, child. The last time that we gave y'all an update, girl, he was knucking and buckling, contemplating, girl, taking a plea deal. Remember, he had waived his right to a speedy trial because for some idiotic, decrepit ass reason, he actually thought and thinks he has a shot at beating this case by taking it to trial, which just lets you know, girl, how dizzy and clinically dazzled. He's clinically dizzy, girl. He's clinically dizzy and clinically dazzled, girl, because who in a right mind would think that they're going to beat this case in any regard? Of course, the obvious thing to do would have taken a plea deal immediately, but he didn't take any of the plea deals. He waived his right to a speedy trial, which is why he's been in there as long as he's been in there. But now, beyond the circumstances of him waiving his right to a speedy trial, girl, he's now in there and will remain in there until further notice because of him being a danger unto the community, particularly unto TS Madison. Oh, yes, we want to get into the thizzle, my nizzle. We got some paperwork that came straight from the courthouse today, baby. And we're going to read it loud, live, and in color. I'm scrolling to his Facebook right now to see if he's made any updates regarding... Nope. Nope, baby, he cooked. All right, let's get into this paperwork, child. And then we're going to get into... But baby, we got the transition because baby, it's a lot going on in the world. All right, can y'all see this?
Yep.
Let me see here. Exit out all the stuff on my computer. I didn't even know I had all this stuff pulled up. Child, this is a mess. All right, as you guys can see here, order denying defendant's motion for bond.
Oh,
okay. Lord. The above case having come on to be heard by this court on the defendant's motion for a preliminary hearing to set bond on the 18th of March of this year, with the defendant having been represented by his attorney of records, Eli Francis. And after hearing evidence and the argument of counsel, court makes the following findings. Probable cause. On February 3rd of 2026, a TPO was issued by Judge Galligan, acting as a Superior Court judge for the Glimmer County, Georgia, forbidding Naquan Palmer, aka the DL Whisperer, from committing any acts directly or indirectly which harass no other than Mother Madison herself, her family, approaching within 50 yards of Madison and having contact of any kind, direct or indirect, or through another person with Madison or her family, including but not limited to telephone, fax, or any other means of communication, or through social media. Thereafter, between the dates of February the 10th through the 15th of this year, Naquan Palmer made a post to social media of the TPO information regarding the victim's residence and other posts using the hashtag TS Madison, which the defendant had reason to believe would cause his social media post to be viewed by the victim or her followers, with the expectation the existence of which would be communicated to the victim. And previous to this, on January 23rd of 2026, the defendant had created a live video stream of him stating his intention of traveling to the victim's residence from his home in Gilmer County, then driving to and driving past the victim's residence to expose its location for the purpose of harassing and intimidating the victim. The court finds that said posts were created for the express purpose of harassing and intimidating the victim, and that same exhibits a pattern of such behavior on the part of the defendant. Therefore, the court finds probable cause for the issuance of the warrant against the defendant. 2, denial of bond. The court finds that simply posting about someone on social media in and of itself does not constitute conduct or contact, such as in case laws here. The court does find that the defendant's words, actions, and conduct to fall within the contemplation of the appellate court's decision and case law here and case law there. The court is concerned greatly by the fact that the defendant drove from his home in Yuma County to DeKalb County for the purpose of creating and posting a video showing the victim's home and disclosing its location for his followers to see, all the while making comments and taunts directed toward the victim. The court is even more concerned about the verbiage used during the defendant's post, such as, quote, going to knock this bee in the head, quote, I want bees dead, quote, you never know when I'm watching, I'm going to get TS Madison. Finally, the court cannot and will not disregard the defendant's statements. Any bond you set today, quote, I get out regardless, and quote, no bond is keeping me from getting this hoe. Said language indicates this defendant has no intention of abiding by any special bond conditions this court may set if bond were to be granted. Based upon the foregoing, the court finds the defendant to be a threat to persons in the community that he poses a risk of committing for the felonies pending trial, and that he poses a risk of intimidating witnesses, especially the victim, and otherwise obstructing justice. Therefore, the defendant's motion for bond is what? Hereby denied. This order has been put in place for the 8th of Miss June, girl, of this year. Signed, sealed by Judge Galligan. You know what? From now on, I'm going TS Madison these hoes too, bitch. Ain't no more silver suits, bitch. Ain't no more lawsuits. Ain't no more silver suits, bitch. I'm going straight to criminal motherfucking charges. What you think about the judge denying Naquan, bond girl? And hold on, before you answer that, actually, I need you to check your text message real quick.
Okay.
Hold on.
And the woo woo.
Y'all run the lights up.
Woo 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 woo. My goodness today. Wow, wow, and wow. Baby, I hope the clock was worth it. I hope the attention was worth it. I hope the temporary validation was worth it. I hope that was worth it.
Don't read it out loud, obviously.
I wasn't gonna do that, girl. I read it. I waited to give my.
I'm like,
no, because I'm ready to get my part. I already saw what you said. Yeah.
Okay, good.
But,
so how do you feel about Naquan being denied bond because of him not demonstrating any type of recourse, any type of conscience, any type of self-preservation, and his own threats, his own verbiage, his own words? You know, this whole time, Mother Maddie been getting blazed up. Oh, she lied. She falsified this. She falsified that. When all of the evidence in question is still evidence that's currently available across all of his social medias, dating all the way back to the summer of 2025. And here it is. We have a judge that is not even quoting TS Madison's concerns, which are not even quoting anything that she per se is petitioning at this point, but it's literally using the defendant's own crap, own lunacy, own mental instability, own 5150 psychology to lock his ass up for 1,000 years, to deny bond because he is considered a threat unto the community, particularly unto the petitioner, particularly unto the TS Madison. What you think about that, Bubs?
Shout out to the judge for doing they motherfucking big one. No shade. That's why I said earlier. That's why self-love is important, because if you don't, you allow a bunch of insecure, bitter ass hoes to put a battery pack in your back. And words do have power and have meaning and can and will be used against you in the court of law, as we saw here. And yes, a very, very much danger and harm to the community, because this individual, when they were on a certain person's platform, they spoke about how they wanted to get into politics and they wanted to lobby to stop trans representation overall. They only had some TikTok information about trans people, came from right wing, the grifting community, and decided that he was going to sit up there and do the damn thing. Very, very sad on his behalf. You would have thought the ninja would have learned the first time when he almost lost his life from a domestic violence situation, but obviously he didn't. So now, like I said, since you're going to be in there, I hope that when you do come out, that you can actually give these insecure women the information that they've been wanting from you this entire time, which is, bitch, how can I tell if my man gay? The universe set your ass, well, really your face down and your ass up for you to go ahead and garner as much information as possible. So again, your mission statement was to do that, and now the universe putting that ass on assignment in this way. So yeah, sitting there pimping, and I wonder what your hair gonna look like when you come out.
I wonder if he had to shave it, because sometimes, depending on what type of facility you in, you can't keep them you can't keep that hair all knotted up because it's considered a hygiene issue, a safety hazard.
Wow.
You can get all type of lice and bed bugs, but I know it depends on what facility it is.
Right.
So he may already be bald headed as all hell, girl, over there looking like his handler unwinding with Cardi B's moolah.
Okay.
Now remember, he's been scratching to consider a plea deal on the table because he can't take it. Remember, that was our last update from his Facebook page.
Wow, he can't take that and can't take dick. This is so sad.
Let's remind and let's curve language. This YouTube be doing the most.
I said Zig. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, Zig.
I understand.
June 3rd. He said it's been 100 plus days of pure hell. There have not been any court appearances or any court dates put on the calendar. Day in and out dealing with racism and hardships. I plead not guilty on May 5th, and they still did not set a trial date despite the law stating it should be set when the plea is entered. I am not a criminal, and jail is not for the weak. I am strongly considering just taking a plea so that I can be released from this nightmare. Accepting a plea and admitting guilt would be a lie, being that I am innocent, but I cannot fight this locked up. What I have learned in these 100 plus days is that the legal system is not fair and justice does not exist. It's not about right or wrong. The district attorneys just want to win and secure convictions to feed their egos. My mission in life is bigger than this, which is why I have to free myself and allow God to handle the ones who wrongfully put me here. Pray for me. Love you all. Now, what's funny about this is he's acting like this is his first go around, and he's acting like TS Madison has been his only victim. In his own words, from the leaked jail calls, he's received more damn convictions and paperwork and TPOs since he been locked up, aka Dominique Morgan, aka Daily Doses with D, who has a lifelong restraining order against the DL Whisperer. And from what I understand, Daily Doses with D is not done, honey. He's just getting started on this bitch. He getting a restraining order in all damn 50, 51 plus goddamn states, bitch. Like, he's going to drag her ass through every damn court system in every county jurisdiction he can.
And shout out to him being a fellow same gender loving man that's holding another same gender loving man accountable on that ass. Thank you. We need more of that. Yes.
Soul Stoic says, hubris, extreme pride, more so than ego alone, leads to delusions and punishment, or as we like to call it, narcissism. The boy got a strong spirit of narcissism, and ironically has all of the inner makings and ingredients of what typically creates narcissism, which is childhood abandonment, childhood neglect, deep emotional abandonment that puts one into extreme self-preservation mode, where they get locked into the I eternally. And when you listen to his wickety whack ass interview with Unwinded with Cardi B's Money, he talked about how ignorant and low vibrational his childhood was, extreme poverty, him and his brother being in an actual relationship while they both were young men. So the boy has a lot of deep issues. But the interesting thing about his post talking about what he's learned in 100 days, girl, what we learned from the 164 pages of transcripts that me and Bubs read from TS Madison and the Whisperer's first hearing is that this isn't even her first round of applause. Make that shake. You've been getting locked up for simple battery and harassment and gang stalking since you were 12.
Oh.
That's what we learned from the transcripts, girl. The attorneys, girl, the state, they pulled his criminal record. He has a juvie criminal record as well.
Damn.
He's been a lunatic and been a Tasmanian devil and been out of his rabid mind since he's been a young punk. So what you learned in 100 days, baby, you have known for the past 14, 15 years as somebody who has had to navigate the criminal justice system because you've always been an addict of people and always had a particular niche for harassing and attempting to traumatize other motherfucking people. So I just find that really, 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 really interesting. Now, typically, if you pass up on plea deals, which initially he did, he was hell-bent on trial, girl. I'm not accepting no plea deal because I know that's going to come with me having to admit that I was wrong, and I am not wrong because I am delusional. But now that he has waived his right to a speedy trial and he has denied the first round of plea deals on the table, but he's now considering, quote unquote, taking a plea deal because according to the information from his leaked calls, they're violating HIPAA laws. He's not getting his medication. You know, he's already built like a pasta string. So he said he's lost 20 pounds in addition to already being built like the Crypt Keeper. So he's in there disappearing and disintegrating, girl. He's probably all bone and toes at this damn point and bald-headed if they made him cut all that shit out his head. So he can't take it. And I don't know, though, if they will, because the judge ultimately is going to have to approve of any potential plea deal that he can get the DA to put back on the table. The judge could deny any of those plea deals, or the judge could accept them, but it's going to come down to the judge and not more so the district attorney. And with the judge now completely in his feelings and feeling like this boy is a total and utter threat unto TS Madison because his own words, his own menacing has risen the alarm, and the conversation around safety in this case, that judge may not be with no plea. That judge may be in a mindset of, no, girl, we're not going to give him any opportunity to get up out of here, girl, before he can get officially sentenced. And since he does have multiple restraining orders and TPOs against him at this point, it's looking like he's a danger unto society, and maybe maybe a jury of his own peers do need to judge his ass and let the community decide his fate, rather than let the DA work out any type of a deal with him. And I think that would be completely justified in this case because this individual seems like this is beyond just like simple social media back and forth banter between two idiots. Like, this is not, like typical YouTube beef, etc. This is somebody who is displaying that there's a few screws that are actually loose. This person can't even really full-heartedly admit that it was even him on the damn door cam footage going 100 miles in a donut around Mother's cul-de-sac, and sat up in the hearing and basically did not really understand, girl, why it was not okay to break the damn law. I mean, so, girl, as a abolition adjacent minded person, I'm like, okay, let's bypass traditional jailing and caging him up like an animal, girl. How about let's just go ahead and institutionalize his ass and put his ass in a mental asylum. That's what he really needs to be. He need to have one of them single beds that have bars for the headboard and the footboard of the bed, girl.
Where is Nurse Ratchet?
Yes, he needs to have a nurse assigned to him daily for his ass shots and for his daily dose of Prozac and mood stabilizing psychedelics, girl. He needs to be up in there having all type of ayahuasca experiences, girl, attempting to really work out his soul salvation and fear and trembling with the Lord before he grind the bus hell all the way wide open, girl. Like, go ahead, girl, and put her in a full-on adult daycare situation because she's not well. Also, I think that the DA and the judge and the attorneys in this case, they need to also consider stripping this girl of her online privileges because that's where she's committing all of her harm.
Agreed.
That's what's tilting the scale. When you look at Dominique Morgan, Daily Dose of D, and TS Madison, what do all three have in common? They're being harassed by somebody who's in a parasocial relationship to them and is abusing online privileges to dox, to intimidate, to gang stalk, to make terroristic threats. So at this point, girl, if there's more than enough evidence to support jailing his ass and restricting bond, then there's definitely more than enough evidence to support stripping him of his online privileges because that little online weak cult following he has is who's putting a battery in his backpack. If you can take that battery out of that backpack and not give him access, girl, to that battery, he'll be too busy, girl, rigging up your bags at Dollar General rather than being online, doing anything for a Klondike bar and a Google Accent check. So for me, institutionalized mental asylum, and I want that stripped of one's social media privileges. The only thing this bitch can email is the judge. That's the extent of her online privileges, girl. Is emailing Gilmer County. What about you? What do you think is a just rectifying of the situation? What would you like to see happen in this case?
No shade. I mean, well, of course, on this platform, you very aware, so you kind of took some of the words out of my mouth, which again is just affirmation. But yes, I believe that he needs to be sat down. I do believe that he needs to have internet privileges revoked. And I know it's going to be very hard for him because that's where he gets his dopamine hits. That's where he gets validation. That's where he gets all this other type of stuff. So yes, definitely remove that. And even though he went through some ish and he did some horrible ish, again, people can be rehabilitated. And if he feels like he can do that, then by all means, like you said, is that paper or plastic? What do you want? You know, can we get clean up on aisle 7? It's okay. Sometimes you got to lose to win again, but you can win different.
You better preach that.
You can win differently. You can. And again,
come on, guest speaker.
I hope that he does learn from this situation because it could have been worse. He almost lost his life when he was in a relationship. And then you have your life flashing before your eyes again by going to jail, going to prison. Learn from this situation and change your damn life. But this also shows, and I appreciate it happening publicly because it shows like, yeah, we're in that era now. Some of y'all gonna have to watch what the fuck you say. Watch what the hell y'all say, excuse me. Y'all have to watch what y'all say. Especially if you're speaking from a place of ignorance, because if you don't, you're going to eventually pay for it one way or another. And shout out to Maddie going the legal route. Shout out to Maddie doing the right thing as far as like
staying committed to this process because honestly, she is in a position to put the bitch away forever.
Yeah, literally.
I don't want Miss Whisper to take a plea deal because we all know that he's not going to be able to hold his meal once he's released. I mean, he basically been hinting in his jail calls, girl, that he's going to be getting back to action. The judge already is concerned about that being the case. So he needs to go to trial because, baby, they won't be, he's going to do some type of time.
But the crazy part about this, too, is that as he's creating these quote-unquote unhealthy parasocial relationships, he does not understand that he is now opening himself up to having unhealthy parasocial relationships. Because we've seen a few videos that you shared throughout this whole ordeal of people who want him to do that to them.
Hold
Who
on, people that want him to do that to them? Who?
There are some people that are saying, come fight me.
Come
Do that to me. Come pull up to me. And there are some people who have some screws that are a little bit looser than his that may end up taking his ass out. You have a chance at life. And you a black man at that. You would think that you would take your life more seriously. But if factory reset is what you are unconsciously calling for, don't get mad when the universe bring that ass up and they say, now what's up? Now we here. And I guarantee that if you were to allegedly have that situation, I bet you'll learn then. Because in the words of, I think his name is, what's his name? Scarface. I've never seen a man cry until I've seen a man die. And you could have lost your life. It could have went a whole entirely different way. So again, shout out for Mother Maddie being in her mothering spirit, which is, I'm going to get your ass all the way to and together. I'm not going to throw you away. I'm going to get your ass together and hopefully you'll learn from this. I ain't got to do nothing. The universe will work on my behalf by you just receiving the karma that you're going to get. And let this be a lesson to the rest of you individuals. And lastly, before we go forward, for the insecure, broken-hearted, dry, cobweb, coochie ass women who put a battery in this boy's back, who did not show up at all to none of his stuff, did a whole bunch of talking, but not a lot of walking. Y'all need to learn to love yourselves too. Because what's going to happen is that if it ain't miswhispered, it's going to be another punk that's going to come in and do it. So that even means in our own community, girl, there's a greater conversation about that, because there's plenty of people in the queer community who are ignorant about the queer community. So learn to love yourselves so that y'all can manifest the love that you want in your life, as opposed to being jealous of other people who just happens to love themselves a little bit more than you do and is able to get all that they wanted. And if I were those insecure people, instead of being broken and bitter, I would be asking them, how did you do it? How did you transmute your life? How did you change your life? Because statistically speaking, the women that these women hate on, statistically speaking, should not be here today. But they are. And they're better than they were before, despite what society threw at them. So again, shout out to Mother Maddie for doing the damn thing, not just in this case, but just showing us what a real trailblazer looks like and what it looks like when you really do love yourself, despite what organized religion, despite what ignorant ass people may say. That's fine. That's their own opinion, baby. I'm living my life like it's golden. Living my life. That's it. So shout out to her.
And take this as a cautionary tale for everybody who is coming into any type of a career field that makes them a public figure, whether it be a politician, whether it be any type of religious work, being a pastor, etc., or whether it's being a celebrity, whether it's any type of work, that there's a dark side to popularity. And this is the dark side. See, that it factor comes with drawing out. See, all things are attracted to the light, including moths unto a flame. I have had to deal with this in my own dealings and journey as an influencer. I have attracted very sick, sadistic, twisted, menacing, purposeless, hell-bound, spiritually depleted, and morally bankrupt individuals. I have attracted people that I've never known, never spoken to, never had a relationship to, who got vacuumed into a parasocial relationship to me, literally on some fatal attraction type shit, and created delusions and entanglements in their mind, and then tried to use the criminal justice system, tried to weaponize any system they could just to stay in an energetic relationship to me. And because, of course, the force is upon me and no one can be against me because the Father, Son, and the Holy Daughter is behind me, every attempt that a raggedy made to stay in an energetic aura grift to me, bitches trying to aura farm off of me, aura parasites, if I should say so myself, okay, were rejected, denied, and rebuked, honey.
Dead space ass.
TPOs were dismissed. False lawsuits were dismissed. And we're going to see that pattern continue to play out in my life because it just comes with the territory. You cannot have the it thing and not have it attracted to you. If you have the it factor, baby, you're going to attract it, also better known as Pennywise. You're going to attract all the clowns of Derry when you have that it factor. Yes, I used to think that you could fast this away, that you could law of attraction this away. No. The law of polarity makes it absolute. What you can learn how to do is better navigate it, but you cannot get rid of this part, the dark side of the moon. It comes with the moon. One side is illuminated, one side is of the shadow. Like all other things in the universe, there's a light body and a shadow body. So, this is what happens. I hate that Mother Madison, that this ain't her first rodeo. We know that there's a lot of people over the course of her journey of popularity and fame who have attempted to be parasitic and to be succubus and to attach themselves to her aura for destructive reasons, etc. And when we look at all those parasites, they all have one thing in common. Remember in that same interview of The Whisperer and Unwinding with Cardi B's Money that both Trasher and the DL Whisperer were kind of trauma bonding at certain time? Like both of them had jacked up relationships to their mothers. Both of them were unfortunately, and heavy on the unfortunately, victims of SA, etc. There's a lot of undealt with trauma there. And these people have no idea how sick they are. They have no clue. Both Trasher and her runner-up, the Whisperer girl, tied up in all type of goddamn legalities, have lost in those legalities. And for the most part, still really persist upon the behavior that got them into those legalities because it's deeper than just social media. There is something deeply psychological taking place, and there are some major psychological issues at work that is leading these people to sabotaging their lives. And there's one question and one question only that all these people need to ask themselves is, what exactly are you looking for?
Yeah.
Because when you can be honest and really get to the heart of that question, you can begin to work to repair your bullshit. There's something that they're after, some sense of, it can be a litany of things in all actuality. But instead of them haunting and terrorizing other people, they need to be asking themselves some very hard questions. But see, it's easier to make the issue and the point external than to make it within oneself. To go within oneself and to deal with all the painful shit that you are ignoring, denying, sweeping under the rug because the spot is too soft. But that's also the pathway to your soul salvation.
No shade.
Through all that gunk, through all that sadness, all that displaced anger, where that stuff is concentrated within yourself, that's where the light of God is. And you have to go into that to get to the peace that transcends all understanding. And as long as they're not making it about that, but they're making it about Cardi B, they're making it about TS Madison, they're making it about David Sadiq, they're going to be making their way to their spiritual grave. And Todd said it best. TS Madison, in fact, really saved the Whisperer's life because we all know where this was headed in the end. Somebody was going to Kapow, pow, kapow, pew, pew,
Yeah.
pew, pew, pew. Somebody pointed pew, pew, pew.
Bow, 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 bow.
Somebody was going to leave smoke coming out of his do-rag.
Pulled up but wouldn't pull back.
Yeah. So, God bless TS Madison, girl. The gift that keeps on giving, child. Okay, she's really saving that ninja's life. Yes, he's still locked up, and he will be locked up until further notice. Right now, the judge considers him a danger unto TS Madison and unto the community because of his threats to harm her, etc. After pulling up to her home, so the judge has denied bond. His attorneys have tried to go in and set motions for bond. The judge said, hell no. Your client is stupid and dangerous, and the courts are not going to have that blood on their hand by releasing this person. And then in a few weeks, girl, you know, God forbid, TS Madison influencer slain down in front of her home by crazed online maniac. And all of that could have been prevented. So the judge is actually preventing that hypothetical from taking place. So shout out, as Bub said, girl, to Judge. At this point, girl, Kane Galligan. Girl, shout out to Kane Galligan, girl, for banging the gavel. And even though the Whisperer is interested in a TPO, even though the Whisperer might be in a place where now he's wanting to explore and entertain plea deals, the judge ultimately is the one that gets to sign off on that. And more than likely, with the judge feeling the way that the judge is feeling, girl, there won't be no plea deals. The judge is probably like, nah, I can see that this person is sick, and I'm actually afraid for T.S. Madison's life, and I'm not going to let him get up out of this with the quick and the easy, because what's the point of putting a plea deal on the table when, and let's go to the order again, because the judge literally said why he will not be granting bond. Because the defendant's posts, such as going to knock a bee in the head, I want bees dead, and you never know when I'm watching, I'm going to get T.S. Madison. And finally, as the judge said, the court cannot and will not disregard the defendant's statements. Any bond you set today, I get out regardless. And no bond is keeping me from getting this hoe. The judge is going to interpret that as, okay, well, no plea deal is going to keep you from getting that hoe either.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of denying bond is to deny you your right to have space and opportunity to do harm unto T.S. Madison. So what would I turn around then and entertain a plea deal for? Why would I sign off on any of the DA's plea deals if I'm now convinced through you convincing me? T.S. Madison didn't even have to. You've convinced me through your explicit verbiage that you don't give up what the courts do. Nothing gonna be able to keep you off Mrs. Hinton's ass, baby. Ain't no river deep enough. Ain't no mountain high enough, baby. So the judge said, okay, bitch, I'll show you how high of a mountain I can create and how deep of a river, bitch, I can dig for you.
The highest mountain in
lowest valley. Let's see if you can swim, baby. You want to be on top? Yeah, so you gonna challenge the courts, girl, baby. Judges don't like none of that carrying on, girl, because they are the rule of law, not you. You take all that chest beating, all that arrogance, all of that what you ain't gonna do energy, girl. Oh, baby, that's perfect. You have literally met the right. The in the robe is the responsible, baby, for whether your ass gonna be in or out of a jumpsuit.
And the crazy part, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say really quick, like, and no bond is keeping me from getting this HOE. Well, now that you where you at, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be some niggas that's telling you that no bond is gonna stop them from getting your HOLE. If we adding letters in this bitch, it's just crazy. But again, it's funny. Your mission statement, because if you want to hear a little bit more about the DL Whisperer's backstory, because this ain't the first time he has been controversial, you can check out my video essay on my YouTube channel. You'll see, when you see the thumbnail, you'll know who it is. this individual's mission statement was that he wanted to help queer people. He wanted to help cisgendered women, biological females. He wanted to help trans women. He wanted to help gay men. He wanted to help those who were involved, or the common denominator being someone that is in the DL space. And the crazy part is that the universe, again, is putting you in spaces for you to really work that out. You in prison, nigga, work some shit out, especially with niggas. Because you say you know niggas, you say you want to be able to help those who interact with niggas. Now you definitely in the DL chill spot, for those of you who know what I'm talking about, if y'all remember that. Now you in the DL space. Now you in the space where you're going to be able to learn and to share information instead of damn calls, throwing slick shade and all this other type of subliminals. You need to be saying, girl, write this shit down. I'm writing a book, girl. Y'all talking about, y'all want to know how your man is this? And I kept saying, I don't know what universally means. I'm finding out what universally means while I'm in here. Like, you could be transmuting this in a different type of way to actually help your mission statement. But because you are crazy, because you are psychotic, because you are a broken individual, and the nerve is that on your platform before your stuff got shut down, again, I had some of the receipts. Check that video essay out. You talked about you were going to therapy and you were working things out. Was this a TikTok therapist who wanted you to swipe that card before they do anything? Because the way that you
comment section,
yeah, someone who ain't got no damn certificate, degree, expertise, and then to be platformed by other narcissists, and like you said, trauma bond with each other. And for this, when these people get together in their own safe spaces, they're so narcissistic that they allow us in on their conversation, and they have so many Freudian slips. They literally be speaking their intrusive thoughts because now I'm bonding, forgetting that the camera is right there. And to have your own words used against you and then turn around and say, I did not say that, as if though we ain't got that in 1080p, 2K, 4K, 8K. We don't have sound bites. There are multiple people that have the recordings. Like, you literally created this trap for yourself. And just like how you created that trap, you can get yourself out of it. You're going to have to get yourself out. Ain't going to be no help. Now Pai Mei coming into the chat, girl. And Pai Mei, for those of you who know who Pai Mei is from Kill Bill 2, and before that with the old ancient, old school kung fu films, girl, Pai Mei do not play. You talking about this judge, girl. The judge is Barney compared to Pai Mei. And he has the chance to transform his life. And lastly, before I land my plane, I'm going to start using that. Shout out to them. When you were talking about it being a cautionary tale, with me being a smaller content creator that's on the rise, I'm really following like the quote that Louis Farrakhan said, when you see prideful men fall, don't laugh. You can laugh a little bit, but don't laugh, really. Learn. The fact that I am connected to people who have been in these spaces and have eloquently and gracefully and just transformed things. Again, shout out to the King. I've been rocking with the King for a long time, so I've seen these transformations, not just online, but offline as well. And to see these individuals go through this and it always working out for their good because they're operating in the good, I'm learning from that. Because just like how the DL Whispered went into viral fame, or viral, should I say viral notoriety, any of us can have that. Like you said before in one of your previous lives, the lines between celebrity and everyday person is now blurred. Anybody can become a celebrity overnight, not realizing all that comes with it. Like you said, the dark side. So the fact that I am connected to people and I watch people who literally go through the dark side, the valley of the shadow of death, go through all these things, but still make it through. They didn't go over, they didn't go around, they didn't go under, they went through it. They were able to learn for real and have so much grace and an overflow to where they can share that information with other people. Which again, even for those that are so broken like the DL Whispered, there's always an opportunity for redemption. It's just that the deeper you get into it, the harder you're going to have to believe, and you're going to have to work on your mental ish. So again, shout out to the universe sitting that ass down. You can get you a little zick every now and then, girl. You in the perfect place. It should be Disney World for you right now. And learn. That's it. So that when you do come out of this situation, if you push yourself hard enough, you can actually be something that benefits the community, because we already have enough people, even no shade, in our own community damaging the community. So yeah, do your self work, because it helps all of us. No shade. And I
Look,
land
baby,
my plane.
y'all have forced TS Madison to get into her Scarlet Witch bag, bitch.
Hey,
Don't you do nothing else to make that bitch go into nobody goddamn cemetery, bitch, and dig up no graveyard dirt.
okay.
Don't y'all do nothing else, baby, to make come up fucking ass, baby. Put you on the altar, girl. And make a damn hoodoo doll out of your ass, out of string beans and ketchup, girl.
Okay.
Leave it alone. Leave it alone, baby. The Scarlet Witch has spoken.
Baby.
Now, in transitioning,
No pun intended.
speaking of witches, we've been commentating on Miss Dominique Morgan, girl, a trans activist who pled guilty to grand larceny for stealing up under $100,000 from the nonprofit organization, the Okra Project. And since her release from Rikers Island, after also being sentenced to 5 years probation and court-ordered restitution to the nonprofit, she's been on a smear campaign against said nonprofit and its EDs. We interviewed the current ED, Gabrielle, on the platform. Shout out to Gabrielle. Also check out the Okra Project's YouTube and TikTok page, where they posted a 40-minute pre-recorded video making available all of the receipts, girl, to debunk Miss Morgan and to flat iron her ass completely out, girl. All has been written and written. Now, you guys know, upon Miss Morgan's release, girl, she came starting the goddamn Armageddon, came out of prison with a hit list, which she showed us on Instagram. I told you guys that the hit list was just a part of the PR run, okay? Because you have to deflect and distract, girl, okay? It's all about smoking mirrors when you are trying to get away with guys on crimes, okay? And trying to take heat and smoke and attention and remove yourself from conversations around accountability. So you got to create other bad guys, create other boogeyman's, honey. You got to point that laser finger, honey, to once again deflect and to deny and to deny and to deflect. And within that, she not only had some very slanderous, defamatory things to say about Miss Alana Banks and Gabrielle, but she also recircled the block to conjure up 2-year-old drama with Oliver Twix and the then civil rights piece of trade that was laying him on his back. And then also conjured up drama within TS Madison's camp with Jiyah. You guys know that Jiyah is another trans woman as well. She is a part of TS Madison's camp. She is TS Madison's personal assistant as well as her hairstylist. Well, you guys know that one of Dominique's good girlfriends, Monroe, threw Dominique Morgan a welcome home party following her release. And Jiyah and Miss Morgan, who have had a relationship, was not invited to the welcome home party. Jiyah texted Dominique initially and didn't get a response. Probably figured she was busy getting her new wig, which was sponsored with the nonprofit's coin, you know, parted down the middle and fried, dyed, and laid to the motherfucking side, allegedly. And she texted Monroe instead and asked her, could she be in attendance? And Monroe texted back and said, sit this one out, sugar. And Jiyah was clearly, visibly shooken, girl, because she was just like, girl, what's the tea? Whatever's been going on ain't really been that deep. But Jiyah stayed quiet about it until later on that night when T.S. Madison and Dominique and Craig, the mistress, jumped on to a live stream, and Craig playfully asked Dominique why the fuck he wasn't invited. And to that point, Dominique then said, well, I would have invited you before I ever invited Jiyah. So then Jiyah did 2-3 different posts on IG, basically addressing Dominique, putting her foot in Dominique's ass, etc. Basically saying how she feels like, you know, the camp been fake, the sisterhood has been fake, it's been BS. And you know, that she just don't understand the foolishness of it all. She also cleared TS and said, girl, this don't got nothing to do with TS Madison. This is an A and B conversation, girl. This is between me and the D. And that's where my smoke is. Jiyah also came over to our platform. She gave us an exclusive. She broke down from her point of view what's been going on between her and Dominique, and she let us in on an interesting factor, which was that this possibly could be over a nigga that don't want neither Jiyah nor Dominique ass. But Dominique has already admitted to being a colorist who fetishizes light-skinned men, and this particular man in question was indeed light-skinned dead girl. It was given Puerto Rican hair, okay? And I was like, oh, not Miss Morgan being male-centered. That's like really wild work. Jiyah ultimately was kind of okay with not having to reconcile. Like, we can be cordial, but I don't really need that sister in my hood, per se. All right? So, fast forward. Dominique Morgan has done 3 different interviews slandering the Okra project and deflecting and distracting. And for some reason, Jiyah, even after having her own personal off-putting experience with Miss Morgan, which is many. Hope Giselle has fallen out with Dominique in the past. Now Jiyah is falling out with Dominique. Gabrielle and Alana have fallen out with Dominique. You know, it's giving common denominator here. But nonetheless, Jiyah has turned around and caught herself defending Dominique Morgan in spaces around how can the community hold Dominique accountable. To hell with the state. Because once again, these girls are abolitionists. So those penalties and consequences don't even count to begin with. It's all about how the community chooses to reinforce any steel beams and steel walls and any sense of accountability. And I'm going to let you hear from Mrs. Jiyah herself, which I was shocked but not shocked.
I was gagged. No shade.
Yeah.
I was gagged.
Check this out. Even using her slogan, imagine.
This will be deleted in the morning, bitch. I was going to put that out.
It's been up for damn 7 days already.
Right now. But, girl, I was on this panel earlier today, and everybody was in the comments, girl. And of course, my good ex Judy, Miss Dominique, came up, and they was talking about accountability, girl, and girl, she needs to do this, she needs to do that. And girl, everybody was saying what they think she do, what they think she do. But at the end of the day, no one said a motherfucking thing. Literally, no one said nothing that they want done, girl. It's just like, we don't want to work for nonprofit anymore. Bitch, sure said she work for nonprofit again. So, like, kill that shit. And then also, another part that got me too is the people also trying to nail the burns to the house right now. Because of the whole MAGA Trump situation. Bitch, let's be deep into your motherfucking closet, bitch. So the thing is, some of you hoes didn't even voted MAGA. And the same people that voted MAGA want to go ahead and start trying to tell up, oh, girl, but what she did, girl, sit the fuck down. You hope to self-performance, and I hate that for y'all. Like, I get it. Yes, I do. But girl, it's saying. Mama already went to jail, girl. She spent her 2 days, girl. Now she on papers. Miss Laverne came and apologized to you, girl, and gave you girls everything you did. And you girls are still out here trying to slay her to the cops and saying you let me alone. But who the fuck I think y'all is? The problem is you girls have too much. They think y'all think I got too much control. So like, if you have no control in your life, girl, sit the fuck down somewhere. You say, I'm a little bit sitting out here in the street, but girl, that's talking with my heart, bitch. And that's what I mean. And I am speaking what I said, girl. You hoes are insane, girl. Shut the fuck out. But think about it, oh, you shit, girl. Oh, you shit, girl. The state ain't on the motherfucking Dominique. That bitch motherfucking, y'all, the people from the motherfucking court thought they had a motherfucking Laverne. But girl, I mean, what y'all want me to do? Be poor and broke and like, what the fuck? It just it's only like for the black and trans women. And there's no shade. Like, I love you hoes, but it be you white bitches and it be you motherfucking you colored motherfuckers always talking about what the fuck we need to be done and what the fuck need to be held accountable. Now sit your motherfucking ass down for. Okay, I'm sorry, girl. I'm talking about this. I'm gonna go have me another drink this second. I'm gonna delete this in the morning, bitch, because I don't like none of the hoes. But I just had to go ahead and put that out there.
Well, that's one reason why I don't drink. I'd rather just go ahead and talk. Because when you drink, what they say, a drunk mind speaks a sober heart.
Jiyah, if you want to be Dominique Morgan's friend, girl, just say that. Just say that. Because, girl, it's given you trying to score some cool points. It's given that Dominique Morgan means what she says about not allowing you into the friendship circle, honey, and you can see that she means it. And now you're trying to find an open door, girl, and a slit and a crack in the peephole, girl, to get up in there because it's going to be bothering you that everybody is getting an invite but you. If you just want to be this bitch's friend, just go ahead, girl, and draw up your friendship contract and have the team put together, girl, a friendship circle, and y'all do some healing, girl. Both of y'all need to put y'all faces into a hole.
Oh my Lord.
And just confess and do the work, because why? Like, I want to tell y'all how y'all sound in this situation. For those who have an issue with community holding Dominique accountable, because y'all seem to think that this is just about Dominique when it's actually about the people who were abandoned in this process, which were all the trans women like yourself who didn't have the privilege to navigate the criminal justice system accordingly. Because even to Dominique's own point, girl, that even with her being a trans woman with social equity and a bit of stolen coin, she even had to found it difficult to navigate post-release. And yet created a bail assistance program for underprivileged trans people who are caught up in the criminal punishment system, who never got to be beneficiaries of this bail assistance program, because that money went straight to Miss Morgan's $19,000 renovation in a rental. Oh, my bad. I stand corrected. $27,000 closet renovation in a rental. You seem to forget that not only were they trans women of color like yourself, who never got to see the light of day, were forced to remain incarcerated, more than likely for committing survival crimes, such as petty theft, sex work, etc. All the things that disenfranchised people tend to have to do in order to put food on their table and a roof over their motherfucking head. But that Ms. Morgan also got out here and openly slandered other trans women of color who were attempting to do the work through the nonprofit work of the Okra Project, such as Alana and Gabrielle herself. And regardless of what the state sentenced Dominique to, it did not keep her nor her gap from trying to reputationally harm Alana and Gabrielle. And without a single receipt to show for it on top of that. So when you're out here in the street, dizzy and dazzled as hell, drunk off the goose and the brown liquor, talking about what y'all want her to do, first thing we want the bitch to do is tell the truth. Something she still can't seem to do, which is why we can't find that Outlaws interview. Secondly, what we would also like her to do is sit her ass the fuck down and go work for every other organization aside from an LGBT-led one. Because you're now a God knows how many times convicted felon. She said she got 7 convictions on her record from her previous life as a convict. Now she's a repeat offender, and yet she's booked and busy, girl, down to the LGBT pride and being paid to be a celebrity guest and using money from within the community to pay back the motherfucking community, which is not payback. Thirdly, what we would like also to happen upon proper restitution, her not being able to benefit for a time being. For those who don't want to throw her away, fine. Just throw her away for a time being. It's called boundaries. And allow her to understand that no other commentary will be acceptable aside from one that is self-accountable. Because we don't want to hear about no other motherfucker in this situation whose name was not on the end of an indictment. Because it's pure hearsay and completely irrelevant. There was only one person who wasn't cleared, and it was Mrs. Morgan. Fourthly, what we would like to happen is, how about have girls like you? Because see, all this work that me and Jay Inclusive is doing, shout out to Jay Inclusive in the chat. What's going on, boo? Bubs to God.
Subscribe. Make sure y'all subscribe.
Bubs to God. YB Speaks.
YB.
Consciouztv.
The kind.
It should be you who waking up this conversation. She abandoned your tribe members. This is intimately and directly something you are intricately tied to. So fourthly, what we would like is for y'all to wake it up. Wake it up.
And can you pause real quick? Because I was going to say something real quick, just to piggyback off what you said. Sometimes, because again, I am a same gender loving man that is also educating myself about those in the trans experience. No shade. It's funny because I hear some people that are in the trans activist space talking about, oh, well, and I'm tired of gay men also talking for us and being in our conversations and in our spaces. Okay, well, this was a conversation that y'all could have had in y'all sisterhood, and there are people afraid to do that. And it's funny because now that's not even being used against us. Because normally, if that was the case, it would have been, oh, well, I'm tired of you gay men. I'm tired of you sissies and you punks. Y'all always trying to butt yourself in our conversations and our experiences. Well, we, in this case, at least for me and CTV, don't want to have to do that because this should have been a conversation that was in-house, that should have been playing out-house as well for people to learn. Because like how you mentioned in the video, when Laverne Cox was getting her MAGA-ish on, and admitting that she was riding the actual surf boogie board of a MAGA, and someone who was a MAGA cop at that, baby, she had to come before the community girl, stand low-key trial in the community, in the court of public opinion, and had all her sisters have a conversation with her publicly. And this was her smashing and making the choice to fuck on the oppressor, to do this with the oppressor. I hope she got something from it, but she made the choice to do that. But now that we have somebody here that has actively hurt the community financially and has made it even more difficult for the trans women and men or trans existence that came up after them, is making it more difficult for them. Why is there not an immersion tea with Miss Dominique Morgan for the community? Because she hurt the community. She hurt the people. And the fact that Miss Mamas can come out and still be booked by the own community that she has hurt is psychotic, dangerous work. But it also shows, again, like CTV said, how broken we are and how we don't have fucking boundaries. Because had this been Bootsy or somebody else outside the community, we would activate our victim trauma response and start bleeding on everybody. But when it's time to actually face your own shit in-house, we are very quiet to where it's like no shade. Just over this whole span and looking at the trans women that I do admire, that I do respect, that I would love to have conversations with and to be educated by. To turn around and to have them not really speak on the issue or walk on eggshells when this is objectively wrong. If Miss Mamas had such a wonderful, just what a twist, M. Night Shyamalan, whatever his name is, type of spin on this, we would have been saw this. But you took and then for Jiyah to do this, it's just like Jiyah, no shade. And again, I don't know Jiyah. Jiyah don't know me. I don't owe her a damn thing. Miss Mama's doing her thing. Shout out to her doing what she got to do, coming from where she came from, and walking by faith in our own experience. But again, this would have been the time to really speak on that. And I kind of get it in a sense, because even though I am not a trans woman, I cannot speak for y'all existence at all. I am barely scratching the tip of the iceberg with it. So I'm not speaking in totality. I'm speaking ignorantly here. But universally speaking, as far as the trauma that we have dealt being lumped into the queer community together despite our intersections, if I were to hold my sister accountable in the way that I should hold everybody else accountable, including myself, then if I do that, then that somehow validates the queer phobes and the trans phobes outside, and no shade, because these hoes are so desperate and so broken and literally reaching and scratching and scraping for something to verify them. This would be it to them. But do you know how you transmute that? By standing accountable and doing the one thing that the whisper can't do, which is, no shade, I fucked up. Baby, the money came in, baby, and I was feeling my damn self, girl. I became very ego-centered. And no shade, girl, this ain't the first time that some shit like this has happened, girl. So again, now that I have an opportunity to have my hand in the honey pot, and I ain't got to really worry about nobody really checking me, at least off rip, girl, let me go ahead and take from that pot. But the pot was not for you. The pot was for the people who needed it, the people who are underprivileged, the people who don't have the resources that you have, having 2 salaries at one time. You fucked around and did that. And I apologize for that, and I'm sorry, and I throw myself to the mercy of my community. And if that means that my ass gotta sit on ice, girl, for a while, that's cool. And the reason why I say that, because I have got to believe that if it was another trans woman that had did this ish, Miss Dominique, along with everyone else, would possibly be given their 2 cents as well.
I want y'all to really know how y'all sound when y'all do this whole what y'all want to happen, because it's already bad enough that the bar is set so low that it almost doesn't exist at all. But I think what I find to be the most gaslighting and offensive and bewildering is how proud y'all are at wearing the fact that there is no bar on y'all chest like an S. We just had to deal with Hope Giselle being dizzy about this situation.
And I still love you, Hope. I still love you, girl.
And minimizing well, hopefully she can love you back.
and
being dizzy about this situation. And now we have another trans woman of color being just as dizzy and making this about Dominique, but what is actually reflecting and revealing is the fact that y'all are literally clueless as all hell. Clueless as all hell. Like, I'm in my mind trying to figure out, how are y'all okay as Black trans women who believe in this type of work, who want this type of work to exist, because y'all know y'all are a part of a marginalized community. Y'all are a minority within the minority within the minority within the minority. And rather than think about and consider the trans women who got stuck in the system because this bail money went elsewhere, and then to also be okay with your sister not being able to come out here after she pled guilty to the courts and be able to explicitly say in the court of public opinion that she also is guilty. She gave the court something that she hasn't even given the public. She gave them I did it, I plead guilty, but got out here and moved the goalposts and blamed everybody under the sun but herself. And you settle for that. You settle for that. And then have the nerve to be dizzy down there to Piedmont Park talking about, I don't know what y'all want to happen. How about the bitch telling the truth? How about Miss Scamonique telling the truth for one? Oh, but because we seemingly, as a public, don't have a heaven or hell to put her in, she doesn't feel that the truth is something that we're entitled to. But maybe when she stood before those good white folk in their tuxedos and in their gowns with their gabbles, honey, Miss Mama had no problem pleading guilty, not the fifth, but pleading guilty. And both you and Hope have got out here on this. I don't know. What do y'all even know the fucking case? Have you even looked at the fucking interviews to know what the hell the outrage is? Because by this lady not even being able to get out here in the court of public opinion and say she's guilty, even though she got in the court of law and said she was, means that for all we know, as a result of the bitch not wanting to take accountability before the community, is that she's still an endangerment to the community. And if you give a fuck about your own community, you would be just as outraged and concerned about whether Mrs. Dominique is a gift or a grift unto the community. You need to check yourself, sister, and not ever get your ass on camera on brown liquor and zoot it up. Because what you shouldn't have put up and what should have been down by the morning should have never went up by day of light to begin with at all. And I like Jiyah.
Yeah,
I like Hope.
here.
But at this fucking point, baby, I'm on some fuck all y'all type shit.
Oh Lord, I'm getting there.
When it come to y'all fucking with the people, because what we don't do, baby, is that we don't make people bigger than the program.
That part.
The program will always be bigger than the people. And we have to respectfully say fuck y'all on principle. Ain't personal. On principle, fuck you.
No shade.
On principle, fuck you. Big F-U-C-K to you on principle. Love y'all down boots. But baby, the way y'all have so ignorantly, arrogantly, narcissistically just dropped the whole ball on this whole situation, and for what? Bitch, for a welcome home invite? For a bitch who probably gonna have 2-3 more welcome home parties when it's all said and done, honey, because this is Miss Mama's second round, girl, of white collar crimes against humanity. And this is the bitch who y'all going up for. To hell with the black and brown trans women who didn't get to be free and collect their wig or 200 and pass go with on the Monopoly board. Because Miss Mama's had more glamorous things to do with $100,000 of bail funding. To hell with how insensitive y'all don't even know y'all look while Gabrielle is out here on her own, bitch, having to windmill for her fucking reputation while y'all sit around and uphold and pedestalize and continue to perpetuate social equity unto a 2-time convicted fucking felon who has re-betrayed the community. Do y'all have any type of social awareness around the fact that there's other trans women who are and have been injured by Miss Morgan in this situation, such as Alana and Gabrielle? Do y'all not even give a fuck about the fact that the Okra Project had to motherfucking file fucking practically Chapter 11 bankruptcy because of the reputational harm that was done due to Mrs. Morgan's indictment? They're having problems right now with sponsors and donors because public trust has corroded as a result of the indictment and then all of Mrs. Morgan's post-release commentary. And just like a true narcissist, baby, if I can't be a part of it, I'm going to burn it down so nobody else can be either.
Doing the oppressors.
And this was an organization that was in place to do for you what your family don't, what your community don't, what the government won't.
Right.
So not only were there all these trans people who never got to benefit from this hypothetical Bell Assistant Fund, but then there are also trans women within the organization who got slandered and did not have the same community that's willing to up here and do get ready with me's, my thoughts on Dominique, and twirl all through Berman Street. Girl, what y'all so mad at? Who have yet to even reach out to these ladies and ask how their mental health is doing. Ask, do they need a platform to speak to? Ask, how are you doing, sis? How could we help the Okra Project? How can we help y'all to rebuild?
How could we transmute? Yep. Mm-hmm.
Girl, y'all are so hell-bent on being dismissive and being so short-sighted. The dizziness is just so shocking. We know the bar wasn't there to begin with, but y'all wearing the non-existence of the bar almost as a badge of honor is diabolical.
Can I pause right there? Because you
Right before
just hitting it.
And right before you do that, because it's also the audacity. Because when Mrs. Jiyah positioned herself as someone who was hurt, someone who was offended, we gave her what? Community. And we gave her what? A voice. And we did what? Affirmed her experience. So it's also the lunacy of the fact that you yourself know how Ms. Morgan is. You yourself have been rejected, gaslit, and have been met with a fuck you because after you did 2-3 videos spiraling, Ms. Morgan uploaded a video wishing you good night. So for you, out of all people, someone who has had personal run-ins, who have had your own personal issues with this woman who just threw you into the fray and threw you into a public humiliation ritual, all because she could, had you in tears, had people going in on TS Madison because she let Dominique say, why would she let Dominique? And for you to get your ass out here on Berman Street, baby, and twirl and trying to put a protective roofing over Dominique's head and an Invisalign across her motherfucking top row, girl, you have missed the mark by far. Because out of all people who should be saying out of the group chat, baby, and sitting there with their legs kicked up and eating popcorn, bitch, it should be you. And rather than you thinking that this is about Miss Morgan, you should absolutely know by now that this is about the community at large in which she afflicted.
Yeah.
This is about the way that Alana and Gabrielle were dragged through the ringer and the washer and dryer. This was about all the trans women who could not benefit and did not benefit from this hypothetical bail assistance program. This is about all the trans people and queer people of color who will not even be able to benefit from Okra Project as a result of Dominique's behavior. While y'all out here minimizing just to sustain proxy to a raggedy bitch. Respectfully. But go ahead, Bubs.
Speaking on things being ditzy and you talking about how it's bigger than them, which is the conversation that I'm glad that we're having on this platform, and hopefully it spread like wildfire and other people have these conversations about the community. With you speaking on the Okra Project, literally losing funding to help underprivileged people, to help those in the community who need it, who are banking, who are praying, despite being a part of a religion that been told that their own creator don't love them, still hoping that something's going to work out, still having faith, have been affected. It's like, again, we are in this current regime that has used trans experiences as a catalyst for hatred. And now these people are in positions of power. And the support for the queer community, I don't know if y'all been keeping up, is starting to go down. And we know that when it comes down to the erasure of people, is that you have to demonize them first. So we're going back into that demonization process, starting with the TQI+. Because that is happening, all, again, that these people in power need is a story, is just one example of the trans community doing horrible, atrocious things in reference to finance with money, baby, they gonna drag that shit and nail that shit in so damn hard. And again, if you're not subscribed to J Inclusive, you need to, because a few of J Inclusive's most recent uploads, they end up again recording the good, the bad, and unfortunately the ugly. And there have been trans women of color who have literally lost their lives within the past few weeks. And the fact that the community at large is so hurt and so broken and so, well, I can abuse you, but can't nobody else do it. It's still abuse. To where you're literally unconsciously playing into the oppressor's hand by literally giving them the objective, tangible manifestation, not no hypothetical, what if, a possibility. No, this is black and white right here. And the community is not willing to hold their own accountable because it's going to affect everybody. In this current regime, it's like playing Russian roulette. And other people, unfortunately, are going to suffer because of that. And you don't expect the same people who are going to suffer to not be upset about it. Baby, I don't know if the capitalistic mindset has infected some of these other people, because as someone said in the comments, baby, it's funny how all these people start off as activists and for the people, but once they get a bad girl and it's really good, especially in this economy, girl, somehow now they're able to have more context and nuance for the oppressor's ideology. Even hell walk in it.
Because let's be clear, it's Dominique who has put cause for concern in this equation. To your point earlier, had she got out here and pled guilty to the court of public opinion the way that she did in the court of law, we wouldn't be here. But because she's refused to do that and to deflect wrongdoing and ill intent onto other people and not explicitly say, I fucked up, I dropped the ball, I got carried away, whatever narrative she would have co-angled, long as it would have been self-accountable, fully self-accountable. By her not doing that, that leads us to the next logical conclusion. And well, then why would the bitch plead guilty to the court of law, but not plead guilty to the court of public opinion? And then as a result of her not wanting to take responsibility for what she did, baby, because unlike the DL Whisperer, Miss Morgan did not want to see trial, bitch. Baby, give me that plea deal, girl. Give me the plea deal, girl, because I already know it's up, girl. Give me the plea deal. Y'all done audited the Okra project and all, girl. Y'all already got the tea. I'll take the plea. Y'all got the tea. I'll take the plea. So the next pivot then is, okay, now we have to come together, galvanize as a committee and say, well, if she is not wanting to plead guilty before us, but plead guilty before them, what does that mean? Does that mean that she actually thinks that we're stupid and that we're going to settle for that and that we're just going to welcome her home and allow her to continue to bank off of the community without any type of accountability? Are we going to be subjected to more exploitation then as a result of her not wanting to plead guilty before the community, even though we now have the receipts and absolutely understand why the hell an indictment came against her? The fact that we've read internal complaints from 3 different organizations, the Borealis organization, the Okra Project, and Black and Pink, about the pathology and pattern behind Mrs. Morgan's behavior. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and transition, because maybe Miss Jiyah missed a few live streams and can be informed. Here's another internal complaint against Mrs. Morgan. It's called Healing After Harm. You guys run the lights up. Navigating the fallout after abuse in radical nonprofit. It has been over 2 years since I resigned from my post at a nonprofit I fervently believed in and continue to believe in. In these last 2 years, I have struggled through silent shame, emotional distress, and eventual acceptance. The acceptance has empowered me to share this with the world. Black and Pink National is a prison abolitionist nonprofit run by and for incarcerated trans and queer people. From its beginnings as a network of local grassroots pen pal programs, Black and Pink has grown into a national 501c3 under the guidance of its executive director of 4 years, Dominique Morgan. Black and Pink is a vital organization, and Dominique has helped so many of the most marginalized in our communities. This is true. And so is this. I was harmed by Dominique Morgan. As a Black and Pink staff member, as a young and vulnerable trans person, I was harmed by Dominique. I believe that similar harm continues at Black and Pink, disproportionately affecting trans staff, young staff, and staff of color. After struggling in silence for 2 years, I share my story in solidarity with Black and Pink staff in hopes of transforming the organization we love. Before I begin, I want to have an honest conversation about power, privilege, transformative justice, and healing. I am a saltine trans femme person. For a long time, I remained silent because I did not want the discussion I brought forth to be witnessed by the world as a saltine woman attacking a person who is not saltine, nor a man, nor a cis person. But the truth is that all of us are capable of harm, no matter our identities. And we must be willing to have these difficult, careful conversations about accountability and harm to heal. I am deeply attempting to do this in a way that feels true to my morals, is aware of power structures, and can be resource and light to those who may be struggling alone. I hope that my story can amplify those of trans people and people of color currently being harmed at Black and Pink by Dominique's leadership. Come get you a piece, boo. I expect there will be responses that see me as a saltine woman on the attack. That is not what I am attempting to do. And I am attempting to heal in the light, honor all those involved, prevent other vulnerable people from being harmed, and have an honest discussion about healing in transformative ways. And the reason why we want to take this saltine person's account seriously is because it's one of dozens, which mostly come from people of color. Okay? 2018, I met Dominique Morgan at around age 16 and developed a community relationship that would deepen as time went on. She became my mentor. In the absence of my parents, I had been kicked out of one's house for being queer and survived neglect from the other. Dominique was a part of my queer community family. Dominique wrote one of my recommendation letters for college. Dominique even paid for my second book launch, all of which were gifts I felt loved and supported by, but had no access to repay, which I have come to learn is called love bombing, something that she's been accused of doing to who? Gabrielle and Alana. I took them girls off the streets. I took them for homelessness. I took them from their car rental companies. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't have had housing. They wouldn't have had the six-figure salary. They wouldn't have titties on their chest. Me. Wow, interesting, this pattern. I introduced TS Madison to philanthropy, to start a house. Me. Which I have come to learn is called love bombing. Okay, there's a difference between loving and love bombing. Love bombing is the beginnings of ultimately narcissistic abuse. It starts off real sweet, gets real dark in the end. At a local dinner in September 2018, I was offered a job doing work for Black and Pink, which Dominique had recently taken over as an executive director. Despite being mature and well-spoken, I was 21 at the time and was not back at university yet. I was naive, and I never expected the experience to unfold as it did. Why are there so many people telling this exact, it's almost like a copy and sword, this exact same thing? Alana and Gabrielle were off doing other types of work before Dominique just descended upon them like a dove from heaven, or a dragon from hell, I should say.
Or Homelander.
In 2019, in early January of 2019, I was onboarded. I was taken on a tour of the rented offices, a look at boxes of thousands of backlogged letters shown where the printer and supplies were, and that was it. I was officially the National Communications Manager for Black and Pink. Black and Pink's flagship program is its letter writing program. Incarcerated trans and queer people write in to request the Black and Pink newsletter to be matched with an outside pen pal or to ask us for advocacy support. I was hired to read through the mail to update our organizational procedure and process requests. I spent the first day reading a letter about every minute, organizing the need, advocacy requests, newsletter requests, etc., and moving to the next. Then I came to the first actual abuse letter. then the second, then the third. Then I came to a letter from a trans woman who was in a med ward in prison because she had attempted to cut off her genitals with scissors. By the end of the week,
Wow.
I was only reading a letter every 10 minutes, then every 20 minutes. When I started the job, Dominique had instructed me to take the ACE assessment, meaning adverse childhood experience, a clinical metric of childhood trauma with a maximum score of 10, and report to her my results. My score was 8 or a 9. Though I did not know this at the time, this required disclosure of childhood trauma in a unusual and unethical practice for an employer. And it meant Dominique knowingly hired a person with an extensive childhood trauma background at 21 to do highly trauma extensive work. My God, today. These letters tore open wounds I long forgotten or had attempted to leave in the past. Apart from the traumatic nature of the letters, there was also no real recourse for their contents. All I could do was add them to the list for newsletters or scan requests into an advocacy database, which I never witnessed being fulfilled. My God, today, more shell programs that are not in fact doing a goddamn thing, like the fake bail assistant program that Dominique oversaw at the Okra Project. Though I received a raise from $15 to $20 an hour, I had no access to health care or therapy. There was no safety net to help me process what I was reading in a healthy way. So here was a woman was plucked out of a random garden by Miss Morgan, thrown into being over a letterhead program or a database where she took in requests from incarcerated trans people dealing with all various needs and traumas who were looking to the organization for various levels of aid and resource. And she herself had unresolved trauma that she had to disclose in a very unconventional way through a trauma test administered to her under Dominique's leadership. And even after her score came back very high as a traumatized person, Dominique put nothing in place to address that or put her in another part of the organization where she wouldn't have so much intimate contact with other people's trauma and end up re-traumatized. And as a result, this is exactly what happened to the trans woman. She was experiencing her own trauma all over again because she was constantly having to read letters and get into the intimate details of other vulnerable trans people within the community in the incarceration system, which was unlocking and disintegrating all of the psychic barriers she had put in place to protect herself from her own trauma, which had not been dealt with in a healthy way. This is crazy. As all hell. Y'all run the lights all the way up. Hold on, let me get my chat together because I don't know why StreamYard is. No, I need this on all the way down. All right, I'm going to continue to read. There was no safety net to help me process what I was reading in a healthy way. So on top of her own stuff unraveling, it was also just the hardship of dealing with other people's trauma. This is why even in customer service, girl, they typically afford like their employees, companies afford their employees like a certain amount of rounds of therapy to deal with being in customer service. I would imagine if you're working for like a crisis hotline or you're doing work like this, that the same would need to be in place to help you to process stuff like this. The same thing for police officers who have to arrive on, on crime scenes and have to deal and process that stuff, in a healthy way, or else it has the potential to rip them apart. On top of this trauma extensive work, I was soon required to take on the work of multiple employees that Dominique fired and did not replace, which we read letters from a lot of those people. Okay, which was the first letter that we read a few live streams ago, internal complaints, etc., from people who were afraid to come forward, but came forward anyway to chronicle in detail the way that Mrs. Morgan allegedly abused power and finances and economics and the way she leveraged her white constituents in comparison to her black constituents, etc., child. So if you guys missed that live stream, get into that. On top of this trauma-extensive work, I was soon required to take on the work of multiple employees that Dominique fired and did not replace. Dominique fired the creators of the newsletter, a staff of 2, and added the entire process of creating, designing, organizing, and managing the printing of the bi-monthly 30 to 50-page newsletter solely to me. I taught myself how to use InDesign and took on that job. Next, I was tasked to plan community mail processing events where I would write directions and literature about how to process mail and oversee the entire event. We began to host these events monthly. My duties continued to overwhelmingly grow. I effectively took on fundraising and development for the organization in Omaha, Nebraska. There was a yearly event called Omaha Gives, where members of the community can donate to local nonprofits. That same year, I created all of the social media content. I stayed up for 24 hours straight, and we raised $10,000, over 13 times what Dominique had brought in alone the year before. My God, today. I designed and branded our table supplies, including pens, lanyards, table spreads, stickers, and buttons. After that, Dominique fired the volunteer who ran social media, and that too became, guess whose responsibility? My responsibility. None of this added work came with a pay increase, Jesus Christ. Discussion of how I could handle this load or any intentional safety structures. I wrote my own job description and was constantly given more and more duties with no apparent limit. It consistently felt like I was the only one in the office. I was always the only one there doing the work of multiple people. By June, Dominique was publicly acknowledging the impact of what she was asking me to do while simultaneously doing nothing to make sure I had healthcare, access to therapy, or any form of aid in what was the beginning of my mental break from the weight of the job. And I guess this is a post of Ms. Morgan acknowledging the work that this employee is talking about. The post reads, I'm sharing this again with more thought. Someone said to me recently after they had been rude to Kimberly, it's nice how protective you are of her. At first it bothered me. Then I said to myself, you're damn right I'm protective. I brought her into work that is harmful to her mind, body, and sport daily, and she always shows up and gives her best. We as an organization are caught up on mail for the first time in years due to her presence. She raised $10,000 for our organization in May. She's innovative and passionate, and to me, still a kid. Saturday, she will represent our community in an amazing way, and I'm so proud and protective and unapologetic about it. Then it goes on. In my relationship with Dominique, I wasn't only a kid. I was her kid. In August of 2019, I was gifted a car from Dominique at a birthday party she threw for me. She performed songs and we raised money for me to have laser hair removal procedures done. In the above post, she publicly calls me her baby, which she has done many times, blurring the lines between boss and parent figure. I had people come to me with concerns about Dominique harming and targeting people during my time at Black and Pink and before. I always said, quote, I have a different experience of her, but I will hold space for yours too. I regret this. I wish I had listened sooner. Okay, here's another post from Miss Dominique, which says, long post ahead last night. I've been searching for a car for this employee here for about 3 months. We tried multiple avenues and organizations, but it didn't feel right. So I decided that every extra check I brought in over the summer would be put to the side, whether it was a training, speaking engagement, or show. Then I had to find a quality car. Folks don't understand that sometimes what you consider a blessing can be an additional burden to someone else. So I searched and searched. I accepted I was going to need to go to dealership. And then T Dennis 87 called me and said, my sister is selling her car. You still need a car for Kim? And I said, where you at? I got cash now. We know you do got the cash now. Thank you, Bobo Dennis, for being a blessing in this process. Then I needed a huge ribbon. Listen, these things are hard to find, okay? Almost as hard as getting a car. I walked into Nobi's and one of my Blackburn alternative program babies was working and found me what I needed at Buckman Tried and Dustin Weasel. I cannot thank you enough. The space of support in your hearts are incredible. Everyone who attended, who donated, I thank you. Pastor Daryl B. Jr., that cake was nothing but the Lord. Shout out to the shooter. Rachel Henderson, my baby starts college tomorrow while working full-time, so proud of her. Make good choices and take over the world. In October 2019, a text was sent out to my coworkers that accidentally included me. It took me a moment to realize what was being said and why. Earlier that morning, I had spoken with a mutual friend of mine and Dominique about putting in for an accessibility plan at my university. About 6 hours later, this text was sent out, which is here. Dominique Morgan, so confidential and HIPAA is involved, but Kim is essentially flunking school and may put in for a medical withdrawal. She's drowning at everything in her life. She can't stay on with us for a time. It's not good for us or her, to be honest. Thought something was up. She mentioned some things to me that set off red flags. I was going to wait to the meeting to discuss. Kimmy, I'm sorry you're going through some things. Let me know how to support. Wow. Not her airing all this girl's business out to everybody but her. And then, as spirit would have it, girl, the text was accidentally sent to fucking Kim about Kim. My God, today. For the record, I was not flunking school. I merely requested disability accommodations and was met with shame and lies. Because remember, she already said she started struggling in her own mental health when she had to work this department and was taking in all these other people's traumas. And even though Dominique was aware of that, she made no healthcare provisions for her. No insurances, no therapy session. She around here buying the girl a car to go, and the girl needed real soul salvation and needed a real reckoning with her mental health. I merely requested disability accommodation and was met with shaming and lies. This concurrently created a situation where my university accessibility office was no longer a safe place, and I did not continue to fill out the paperwork for an accessibility plan. Both Dominique and the university accessibility office had violated HIPAA. My God, wow. Black and Pink subsequently put me on probation. The carousel. Am I pronouncing that word right?
Good.
The carceral.
That word cut your carceral. Okay.
The carceral.
That word give me some
terminology. Because I was reading so goddamn fast. I said, wait a minute, bitch. I said through this. That don't look like the way I said.
Right.
The carceral terminology used by this prison abolitionist organization, aka probation. There were times when my coworkers, specifically one who was quietly employed to act as our HR department while being the ED's best friend, pretended to reach out to me and establish some notion for incompetence for a paper trail built on lies. The HR person would text me late at night after the workday and demand that I begin posting on our social media live updates of town halls during the primary election. When I would be up late working in the summer, it was expected of me to also be available right away in the morning, regardless of having worked late into the night. I was being set up to fail. At this point, I was approached by a community member about harm done to a person by Dominique outside of Black and Pink. It was because of this information that I decided to leave the organization. That is not my story to tell, though it shattered me. I officially gave a month's notice and emailed my resignation letter to the board and my coworkers. I sent Dominique a personal letter thanking her for the opportunity to work for the organization. So this person who she met with, who wanted to talk to her about whatever their experience was of Dominique, was the straw that broke the camel's back, and she, I guess, had a full reckoning of what the fuck all this was, and she wanted to get out before it got any worse. And thank God she did, because look at what the fuck ended up happening to Dominique. And then look at how Dominique has been speaking on other people just to deflect from the shit she pled guilty to. I stayed on for one more month because I knew our incarcerated members needed our support. The day I resigned, Dominique and her best friend, HR, both blocked me on all social media and directed me to speak only with the deputy director. Even though, now, mind you, all of this is at Black and Pink, not the Okra Project. Mm-hmm. Even though I still work for Black and Pink, I was locked out of HR access, communications between the rest of my coworkers, and even was intentionally left out of the opening of the Linden House. This was a momentous deal at the time, and I was shunned completely from it the entire last month. After I gave notice, I struggled alone with information about harm from someone I trusted and harm that had been done to me, specifically ripping open old wounds of abandonment and neglect. I was erased. Like the 6 years of a familiar relationship didn't matter. There was no decency, no respect. In the end, I was burning out because I was being set up to fail in an environment that was harmful to my mental health. I stretched myself to breaking because I cared about the organization, but the organization and Dominique Morgan didn't care about me. Now, 2022, one may ask why I have taken so long to speak out, and the answer is both complex and simple. The simple answer is I have been afraid. Something that we see very familiar here, because then the other employee from Black and Pink who spoke out, their opening statement was, I've been afraid to come forward and speak about what I and other staff members experienced at Black and Pink. My God, today. The simple answer is I have been afraid. When I left Black and Pink, I tried to warn a handful of people, 2 of which went on to be given jobs after I left. I lost my ability to trust people, feel safe in my community, and know where or who was safe. At a 2019 signing performance, Dominique jokingly admitted to the audience about calling in a warrant on her partner after she caught him cheating, which is problematic for someone who claims to be a prison abolitionist. This made it clear to me that she is willing to weaponize harm in a brutal way when she is provoked, which we can see from all the smear campaign that she's been doing against the Okra Project and Gabrielle and Alana and Oliver Twix and all of them folk. I also have seen her tear down others countless times and do so vindictively and harmfully. While this bullying behavior may stem from her trauma, that does not make it okay. The complex answer is that I love Black and Pink. I never wanted my story to be weaponized against Dominique or our community. I am coming forward now only because I believe that she is continuing to harm vulnerable staff within Black and Pink. Black and Pink seeks to employ trans staff and staff of color, people who are uniquely vulnerable of familiar trauma. Instead of giving her staff the care we deserve, I believe Dominique creates a Black and Pink, a family that is all too close to our harmful and abusive families of origin, in which she doles out her love in order to control us. While my story is specific to the 6-year relationship Dominique and I shared, I see in other Black and Pink staff stories frighteningly similar echoes of the emotional and economic exploitation I suffered by creating a workplace where staff are overworked, unsupported, and terminated without cause or replacement, which is chronicled in another employee's Black and Pink internal complaint against Miss Morgan in detail. Dominique leaves the members who depend on staff services in confusion and pain. In the last conversation I ever had with Dominique, she screamed, I'm in charge, and hung up on me. I believe that she continues to prioritize her sense of control over the needs of the staff and community Black and Pink serves. For the sake of Black and Pink and for the sake of Dominique herself, I believe that our community must begin a process of accountability and healing for those Dominique has to. You know what's a running theme here on this platform, your platform, YB Speaks platform, Jiyah Inclusive's platform? It's the word fucking community, which is what we're advocating for. Community. This every other trans person that has had a horrible run-in, even Miss Jiyah, who was hooting and hollering and crying over Dominique not extending what to her? Community. Calling the sisterhood what? Fake and synthetic. Just like a lot of other trans women of color who have had proxy to Mrs. Morgan. That's why Jiyah sounds so motherfucking dizzy as she does, because it's mighty audacious, girl. You're wearing the same blood-stained gown as many other trans women of color are wearing, who have been ripped open, allegedly exploited, hurt in various ways by Mrs. Morgan. And you're out here, girl, twirling through bourbon. I don't know what y'all want to do. Stop and frisk.
Oh my Lord.
Where was I? I believe that our community must begin a process of accountability and healing for those Dominique has harmed. The word abuser is one I deeply despise. I believe that to truly uphold transformative ideals, we must see people as people who make choices, some good, some bad, but people are all worthy, dignity, respect, and care before, during, and after the harm, including the person who harms. This is my fervent belief. I believe the truth must be known, but told in love, not hate. I do not see my former ED and mentor as an abuser, rather a person who has made bad choices. Well, we have a pattern now, sis. So unfortunately, baby, you know, these choices need to be mitigated and healed. And mind you, this was all before indictments, all before plea deals and sentencing. The curtain, the Wizard of Oz curtain, is being pulled back. This does not absolve us from accountability or communal discussion on how to heal the harm that has been inflicted. Asking for accountability is not harming Jiyah. The state held her responsible for her actions. The question becomes, how are we going to? Jiyah, Hope Giselle. It is asking for the beginning of healing. I have spent the last few years attempting to heal on my own, and I am now ready to heal in the light, in the hopes, no pun intended, that it might help another heal recognize harmful behavior or feel empowered to stand up for themselves. I hope perhaps this letter will spark a community dialogue about harm and healing, because all I want for each of us, including Dominique, is healing from the harm that has been done to us, accountability for how we have harmed, and a healing process for all of us to occur so that no further harm is done to anyone. And then what happened as a result of community not being community? So many other motherfucking people went on to be what? Hurt and harmed. Now there's an entire organization being thrown under the motherfucking bus just so that the bitch can deflect conversation. An organization meant to help and stand as a middleman for vulnerable Black and brown people who Miss Morgan has appointed herself to protect and serve. And you got dizzy ass trans women of color out here. What y'all want us to do? What y'all want that happen to her? At this point, you know, back in the old days, when a witch betrayed...
Oh my God. I knew the bitch was going to say this.
They would drag that raggedy bitch outside of her motherfucking house.
Oh my God.
Cover her in gasoline and set her ass a motherfucking blaze, bitch. And from ashes to ashes, unto dust to dust. Back in the old day. Back in the old day, that's how you dealt with reprobates. That's how you dealt with cancer and poison unto a loving system. That's how you got rid of the spyware within a system. That's how you freed a body from viruses and infections, is you would aggressively attack that virus the same way that that virus was aggressively attacking the body. Now, we are in a very unique and interesting philosophical predicament as a people, because we don't take gentle parenting to no other stage 4 cancer. So I don't really know. I don't understand why we apply it to other forms of cancer. Do we need to love and light Trump ass out of office, or do we need to aggressively get his ass out of office? Has any one person ever seen a dense homophobe in their life be rehabilitated outside of their parents? Because parents sit so close to the issue that it's more likely that they may have a change of heart. So with the exception of them, you know, when we were talking about restorative justice, the reality is that you can love Dominique Morgan and get rid of her ass all at the same time. I don't believe that Dominique Morgan is safe for the community. I don't want to see her harmed. I don't want to see no blood drawn from her body. But I would like to see the community stand up for itself and give her ass her motherfucking exit. And all the people who are on the lineup for having their black cards revoked, we should have no problem adding her ass to the list either. It is not only concerning that she's a 2-time convicted felon who was given an exceptional second chance at life, was able to become popular, have a big social media following, have a great career and activism work, and then needed to be retried and resentenced and repenalized for once again having her hand in the cookie jar. And the first time around, see justified under the guise of survival crimes. She won't even produce an excuse this time. This time, she's all out assigning other people to this predicament. And she is the Lamb of heaven that was sacrificed and slain before the Okra Project used as an scapegoat, if you let her tell it. That is deeply fucking concerning. That we're getting a narrative not built on any truth by someone who already has no credibility. And the fact that other people are willing to amplify the conversation around Alana, Gabrielle, and TS Madison just to deflect and keep Dominique's reputation gorilla glued together is extremely problematic. It'd be one thing if all those girls were RICO'd together. It'd be one thing if all those girls were facing indictments together. It'd be one thing if all those girls had to plead guilty and had to pay back court-ordered restitution and probation. It'd be one thing if Dominique had even fought for her freedom. She didn't. She allowed the DA to take her through this self-admittedly. Willfully chose to allow a public defendant to represent her rather than to put Coin into proper legal representation, which, as far as I'm concerned, does make sense from the context of being guilty, because why the fuck would I bankrupt myself over a situation I know that I caught dead red-handed in? Girl, I'm about to save my coin for the post-release. Because I am, in fact, guilty. The community looks motherfucking dizzy. The trans women themselves in this situation who have an opportunity to be an actual activist for the vulnerable. After all, Jiyah was just a vulnerable trans woman who was the gunk underneath Dominique's shoe. And the sad part about Jiyah being dizzy on Bourbon Street, girl, filled with brown liquor, is that her name still ain't on the invite list. So what the fuck you tap dancing and shoe shining for free for? I can actually see if you were on the MVP list, if you were given a special invite. And so now you're backpedaling and cleaning it all up to maintain continuity to the reformed and refined friendship contract that's now in place. To be shucking and jiving for a bitch who still left you on red is crazy work. For a bitch who responded to your tears, who responded to your distress, who openly humiliated you in front of thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and to be twirling through Bourbon Street, girl, defending this bitch, and you're still on red with nothing more than a good night. It's crazy work to be asking the community that you are emphatically a part of, who you yourself have been looking for sisterhood in, to minimize Dominique's behavior, and you're having your own anecdotal experience? Taken away from trans women who are far less privileged than any of them are. Because Jiyah has a great career. Jiyah is living her best life. Hope is living her best life. This was about trans women who never got the opportunity to get on their feet and finally get their cosmetology license and move from Nebraska, Omaha to Georgia, to the land overflowing in milk and honey, and to get on their feet again because a grizzly, gap-mouthed, bald-headed, dragon-face ass bitch preferred Mercedes-Benz, upkeeps, and renovations and Uber Eats in place of giving the so-called most vulnerable people that we have to hear her narrate and grift off of every motherfucking day, being afforded the opportunities to go from their rags to some goddamn riches for once. Dominique needs to be shunned out of the community. Let her find work elsewhere. She didn't even think enough of the community to even say, I'm sorry to, because I, in fact, did nothing wrong and it was everybody else's fault. And to vindicate myself, let me show y'all these receipts. Wait a minute. I'm going to make y'all pay for them on a subscription-based platform called Substack. But wait a minute, I never used those same receipts to exonerate myself and didn't trust that those receipts will hold up in front of a jury of my own peers in a situation that I called weak on behalf of the DA. And yet I pled guilty to that weak ass case. Oh, wait a minute. Now I done spoke too soon because bitch, the Okra Project done blew the motherfucking lid off after they let me run my motherfucking mouth and incriminate myself and expose myself as a liar by then presenting the fucking receipts. And you got dizzy ass Jiyah and dizzy ass Hope Giselle out here. What do you? Why don't know what y'all want? The truth, bitch. An apology, bitch. Accountability, bitch. And to get the fuck up out of the community, bitch. And play that back in any type of speed you need to comprehend it. That's what the fuck is needed. See, now I really don't give a fuck about proximity because I see that you hoes are in a narcissistic, self-indulgent delusion. And the crazy part about it is that all this corruption is happening at the top. Dominique is a trans woman who is somebody unto her community. And if the community wants to bar set this motherfucking low, that just because the state gave her 27 days and probation and restitution, that life should go on and the bitch should still have life in the community, baby, I can't tell you how much of a predatorial point of interest the Black LGBT community has now become on the radar of economic predators. Because as I said in the last live, I got to reiterate it in this one, baby. Miss Dominique says she's lost without a coin, and she came right on over here to the Black LGBT market, girl, to do what? To get her a piece. And as a result of the lack of interest the community is taking and assessing the situation properly, and for the sake of avoiding future predatory behavior from this repeat fucking offender, all it's doing, bitch, is showing all other economic predators, girl, that there ain't nothing but space and opportunity over in this motherfucker to come and get you a piece, especially if you lost without a motherfucking coin. Come get you a piece. Because we have millions upon millions and millions of dollars, bitch, in unrestricted funds. Come get you a piece. Because even if, girl, the powers that be catch you red-handed, girl, the community is so addicted to motherfucking optics and parasocial entanglements, girl, that they're not going to give a damn about the actuality of your predatory nature or lack thereof, girl. Come get you a piece. Because even after the state and the feds hold you accountable, girl, the community will allow you to have a future upon a future upon a future upon a future, baby. So if you are lost without a grift, come get you a piece. If you're lost without a coin, girl, come over here to the LGBT, particularly to the Black trans community, girl, and get you a piece, Miss Mamas. If you lost without an algorithm, bitch, and a cult-like following, girl, come on over here to the raggedy-ass, non-existent community of the LGBT committee and get you a whole piece. Girl, if you lost in any way, shape, or form, my love, come get you a piece. Like Nicki Minaj did when she cosplayed as bisexual to grift off the LGBT community, only to turn around years later when she had used and abused us and allowed Eminem to call us all type of maggots. and then said, "Oh, I'm strictly dickly," but we lack such accountability and infrastructure, girl. We so don't actually care about the actuality. We so much more invested in the optics, even if the optics exist without the structure and the substance. Come get you a motherfucking piece. Come get you a piece. Can't you see how these people don't really love themselves? Come get you a piece.
And there's a lot.
Can't you see how these people prefer polyester over porcelain? Bitch, come get you a piece. Can't you see how these folk prefer plastic over purpose? Come get you a piece. Can't you see that ain't nothing but space and opportunity, girl? These people don't have no boundaries. These people ain't got no sense. They so addicted and tied into their fantasy of who they want us to be, girl, that they'll never care about if we actually are that. Long as we give them the fantasy, girl, they're happy. Long as we give them the fantasy of community leaders, the fantasy of governance, the fantasy of care. And as long as we look good pretending, they motherfucking happy, bitch. You don't actually have to be the real thing. Just do a good job pretending to be.
Yep. Perform.
Bitch, I'm motherfucking done. Bubs, you can take the floor, and I'm going to drop the link.
Yes, go ahead and drop the link because I want to hear y'all thoughts. And again, this is what community actually looks like. As a person who has dedicated the last few years of my platform to queer activism, even going through a dry spell before I ended up kind of growing to my subscribers, the stories and the stuff that I've heard, just the information that's out there, it's like, I literally want to help make a change because I also came from those spaces and places. I almost lost my life. And all of us have the origin story about how we almost lost the fight, how we almost gave up, and that we survived even though there were so many of our peers who did not. And now we have put ourselves in spaces and places to where people are actually appreciating our voices. Because sometimes when you're going through so much in your life, you don't know how to explain it. You just know you can feel it. And then you come across people who can put words to what you're feeling. And one thing that I think we do, especially in the Black community, is that we put all of our hope, all of our dreams, all of our efforts into one person, as opposed to learning how to put that into us, because we make up the community. And again, not even just inside of the queer community, outside of the community, but still in the Black community. Look at all of these people who started off being advocates and activists, and those who were voices for the people, who literally was compromised by the same system that they were trying to bring awareness to. And no shade, there's a video, and I think I said to the CTV, there's a video where it talked about how all the real revolutionaries, how they're unfortunately are all unalived. Because in this system, if you stand up to it, there is a huge possibility that you will not survive. And we saw all of the people who were performing, all of the people who were trying to do respectability politics, all the people who said we're going to play by their rules, all the people who did this, who learned the oppressor system and used the system against them. The system ain't even going to be responsible for its ish. Which is why it took out all of our leaders. But now that objective harm is coming, and no shade, when you are an activist, you are unconsciously or consciously putting your life on the line because you're aware of the fuck shit. Now there are people in the community that are objectively harming them. This is not about Bootsy. This is not about people outside. This is not about, this is about in-house situations, primarily with Black. Because let me tell you something, the white gays, especially the ones who call themselves normal gays, girl, oh, they're putting their foots on the necks of white trans people, white queer people who do white collar crime. There's a whole drag queen now who going through something with Mattel. When Dylan Mulvaney was the face of, I think it was Bud Light, baby, they had videos of people taking weapons and lighting it up like it was Chirac, threatening to bomb the damn plants. All these things, the hatred is already there. It never went away. It just became covert. I mean, covert. Now we're living in an era where that hatred is becoming more overt, and you are literally giving those people ammunition to grow forth in their overt hatred. And then have the nerve to feel some type of way about the people who are going to be affected by it. Yeah, that is giving like Trump energy. That's giving very much MAGA energy. It's giving very much I am now becoming the oppressor energy. And yes, these people can have good hearts and have good intentions, but if they don't have an emotional awareness and intelligence and are selfless in this fight, they are going to harm other people by trying to protect themselves. And I'm sorry, for those that are in proximity to Dominique, y'all need to hold her accountable. I know that's your good sister and that's your good Judy, but I need for you to be a good sister and a good Judy to her. It needs to be done publicly. Again, if it was me or CTV and we were in this predicament, y'all would be lighting our asses up. And the fact that we're standing here saying this means that, again, consciously or unconsciously.
And they wouldn't even have to light me up, bitch, because I'd be the first one. I did it, bitch. I did it. I did it, girl.
Yeah, but you've also done the work. And we appreciate people who have done the work, because when you've done the work, you can come to your community first. You have that energy in you that's like, wait a minute, I know I'm doing something wrong. Let me pull an 8 Mile on myself. Let me pop a doc myself. Let me tell all my tea and all my shit from my own mouth. And then,
like I told y'all, girl, I'm not a square, honey. I am very clear about the way the system got its motherfucking big toe on the necks of vulnerable minority people, honey. I believe in being Robin Hood, bitch. I believe in vigilante work. I believe in righteous rebellion. I told y'all, I call it holy war, baby. If you stealing from thieves, that ain't stealing to me.
That's called a balance.
Girl, it's called balance. No, it's called restoration.
Yes, restoration.
Restitution and restorations, baby. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get them reparations back one way or the other. But when you're targeting the proper systems, when you targeting corrupted systems inherently, that's a different story. I'm with all that shit. If that's what Miss Dominique was doing, baby, all hail to the queen, bitch. Wouldn't have nothing to say, girl. Do you need some help? Mm-hmm. Let me extend some resources to you, sis. Let me send you some more foot soldiers over there, girl. Tear the system down, girl, brick by brick, girl. Tear down the walls of Jerusalem. Girl, you came into a nonprofit and stole from a system that was in place to protect people like you and me, who can only also do that work, which is sponsored work, donut work, by also being in good standing reputationally with the community. Mm-hmm. Girl, that is a shame and a goddamn scandal. You have to be some type of, you have to be something of another to steal essentially from a homeless person. Mm. You have to be something of another, baby, to steal from the least of them, from the least amongst you. And the gag, I think the double entendre of this whole shit is the fact that the bitch wasn't even hurting for no coin. She was making two $250,000 salaries simultaneously, while also making whatever coin she making off of her social medias, while also making whatever money she making from her hostings, her bookings, her appearances, any type of merchandise, books she have. And then you had to still shave off almost $100,000 off the top, bitch. Already being on the top, and then there's $3+ million unaccounted for under your watch over in the Okra Project too. That's been unaccounted for. Girl, it's literally giving Trump. Enriching yourself entirely. And more than likely also shaving so much off the top just in case she got caught again. So that she wouldn't come home to a straw house. Because she got caught the first time and had to do 10 years, 7 convictions on her record. This is her being a repeat offender. So she already knew the odds were high, probably, of her getting caught up again. And she did. So, girl, she was putting wealth to the side. Just in case. She was preparing for her afterlife. After her life. And the sad part about it is that this was already her afterlife. How you doing? Hell in heaven. And got into heaven on the strength of not your good works, but off of grace and mercy. And then you do this to the throne within. She should not be allowed to prosper in the same community that she defrauded and have been cavalier, unapologetic, and have even continued to be abusive towards by destroying the reputation of a nonprofit put in place for Black and brown queer people, that gave jobs to Black and brown queer people, that gave resources to Black and brown queer people. And for the girls, particularly the activist girls and the dolls themselves, I can see gay men being ignorant. I can see cis people being ignorant. I can see straight people being ignorant on the shit. Girl, the fact that the black trans girls and the activist girls are the ones who are the dizziest in this. Oh, but that baby, I was not expecting that plot twist. I was not expecting that plot twist. That plot twist was wow. Wow. And for Jiyah to have just been here 2 weeks ago, wow. For having a similar internal complaint against the common denominator, wow. For Miss Hope Giselle to come out of her mouth and say, girl, this don't even affect me. Bitch, how not? Wow. Who are y'all? Is the community suffering from an identity crisis? I don't know who anybody is anymore. Nobody is what they really seem to be. Baby, we living in some really hopeless times. Jiyah, Brown Liquor Bolden, hopeless Giselle. I'm shook. It's one thing to not have nothing to say. It's another thing to be dismissive and to minimize the behavior and actions of somebody who still hasn't afforded her own community a direct apology and true sense of accountability for her actions and the way that her actions have impacted the Okra Project as an organization, the way that it has impacted the social capital of the trans community who have to deal with being stigmatized for being criminals and fraudsters, and for the Black trans girls themselves to not understand what what's wrong with you? Are you enchanted? Do you need an exorcism? Do you need some type of deliverance? Because the spiritual possession got you in a chokehold, sis. The algorithm got you in a chokehold. Y'all this desperate to be close to a bitch y'all not close to. And while y'all trying to protect her girl, she trying to unprotect y'all. Make it make motherfucking sense. Do you think that Dominique thought about TS Madison girl when she decided that she was going to break the law? And not consider how that would impact the slaughterhouse? House? Nope. She clearly didn't give a damn about Jiyah's feelings, girl, when she didn't even bother to respond to her texts and just give her a clear no. Force her to further embarrass herself by having to go to somebody else in the camp, girl, for permission to come to a party and still got a no. And then after she hoot and holler and cried all night on the motherfucking internet, still was given a no. And it's remained a no ever since. If you get to be abandoned, get to be rejected, and get to put up with this fake shit, then why the fuck aren't you standing in solidarity with others who done been rejected, who done been hurt systemically, individually? Y'all be standing up for girls that haven't even done your fucking Carfax on a bitch. And be running around here in a refurbished 1997 Honda Accord on a spare motherfucking tire with a 3-generation ass transmission, no power steering, and the windows don't even manually roll down, bitch. And be out here bold, strong, and loud, advocating for everything but the right motherfucking person and the right motherfucking people. The people who done been abandoned just like you, girl. They've been offended just like you, girl. They've been left on red just like you, girl. When Miss Dominique was joining in the witch hunt against Miss Hope Giselle last year, me and Bubs did that commentary. That's how I got put on to Diamond Styles, who was also going in on Miss Hope Giselle. Miss Morgan and India Moore was in the comments going in on the witch hunt, girl. It's just like, and y'all out here, girl, praising y'all upholding a bitch who was burning down the balcony from underneath you. Old habits are not just dying hard in this case. They're not dying at all. And how she's come out so arrogantly, girl, I know why. Because she know she got her dumbass community in a chokehold. And unfortunately, she was right. Ursula done stole Ariel's motherfucking voice and all her goddamn common sense. Yeah. She done grown her legs, baby. She's on shore. Living life lavishly in the earthly kingdoms. Her tentacles, girl, have infected accordingly. And now public trust is going to corrode at another level because of the way that the community has felt to handle this with any real sense of urgency and with any real sense of interest and concern. Once again, this person is now a 2-time repeat offender. And nobody even cares about what the fuck that means for future LGBT people who are going to intersect with Miss Morgan and any other future LGBT organization that's going to intersect with Miss Morgan. But once again, this is the same community that hires Solange Knowles' son and hire homophobes and transphobes to come and perform for Pride. I mean, the bar doesn't exist. I be forgetting the bar doesn't exist. I forget that the bar isn't there. I forget that this is the same fucking community that would rather pay a Jocelyn Hernandez or a Young Miami top tier guest appearance price while giving pennies to Hope Giselle and Angelica Ross. I forgot. according to Angelica Ross and according to Hope Giselle girl, when all the bullshit was going on, and they was doing exposés, girl, on the philanthropy girls, on the humanitarian girls, we found out, bitch, that they scratching each other eyeballs out behind the scenes for spots on the docket. It's a crab in a barrel. It's a barrel within the barrel that the trans girls are in. There's the black community and the crabs that's in a barrel. And then there's a barrel that got the black LGBT community inside. And then within that barrel is a barrel for the trans blacks. Girl, it's world within the worlds within worlds. It's barrels within barrels within barrels within barrels. See, sometimes I do be living in an idealistic utopia in my brain. And then I have to be brought back to reality. I be forgetting, girl. The bar doesn't exist. The bars don't exist. And this is proof of that. Nobody has hit the link, so I don't know if there's any other points you are wanting to make or anything that's standing out to you. We can check some comments. Jay Inclusive says, all these girls be playing double dutch, friends 1 month and enemies the next, when there are really frenemies for the notoriety and proxy money and accolades. That's exactly what it gives. Aries says, in a matter of time, Hope going to look real silly again. She already has. Her whole comment section was tearing her to smithereens. She done went and done edit the hell out that comment section now. But baby, they were tearing her a new braid. Tearing her out. Sit this one out as wow. Child, you would not have to tell me twice. Jailbird. Grill, because the community likes mean girls. She's definitely a grifter. The nerve of her going for the nonprofit. I wonder why she didn't go for the white collar crime tea. Oops. Oh, so she's Dominique Trump. I get it. Being lifted up by her community despite admitting she hasn't even admitted it. She admitted it in the court of law, but didn't want to admit it to the community. Instead, she deflected and blame shifted. Just like MAGA does every time a Trump is caught in some bullshit. They go to make an excuse. They go to assign it to the Dems and the crazy liberals. They have to find some other villain and opponent. I'm gonna drop the link one more time. If not, we out of here.
I'm just curious to see what's going to happen going forward, because I know that some of the girls are going to listen to this live. No shade. They're probably listening right now. And I would just hope that, again, despite your ego, despite, again, being human and want to respond and protect yourself, which, again, that's human, you would sit within yourself and be aware of that thought and challenge that thought, because, again, now I have to stand for that same community. And again, I love the dolls. I love the girls. I appreciate the work that they have done. But when you're out here doing this work and you're being elevated in this community, you also are going to deal with more responsibility. And whether you ask for it or not, just like CTV said, there's a dark side to being viral. It's a dark side to the activism work as well. So, and if you can't, or you don't have the capacity for it, or you're on to bigger and better things now, I guess, in a sense, why not pass the torch down to somebody else who's going to be able to finish the work? Because there are plenty of other up-and-coming activists that are willing to do the work. I think we had someone on the platform during the beginning of this conversation, at least as far as the receipts being dropped. I forgot what their name was, but they came up on the platform and spoke about how they were the first one to create a hotline for trans individuals in reference to still motivating them and inspiring them to keep going forward despite their current circumstances. Like, what these other people are not going to do or fail to do, the community has to find a way to elect those that are going to do the work and do it far greater than them. Just like how in the book, well, never mind, because I don't even want to make the comparison. But you're going to do far greater works than those who came before you. That's the purpose. So again, there is redemption in reference to what the community can do. So now we need to start asking ourselves questions. How do we move forward? How do we create these standards? And we have to have these conversations on our own platforms. If these individuals ain't going to hold people accountable, we have to do it, because now we're responsible if we don't. No shade. So that's it. I land my plane.
I think I want to read another internal complaint. Possibly.
Go ahead.
Let me see. I'm skimming through.
I'll be right back. Pinky got to go pee. I'll be right back.
Okay, Bub's got to go. I think we're going to read another internal complaint, child. Let me see. I'm reading through this. Wow. I'm gonna wait to start reading. When Bubs come back. Wow, y'all run the lights all the way up, girl. If y'all enjoying yourself, all the things, give us a share, a like, a subscription. You can always donate to the platform at $Consciouztv on Cash App and or PayPal.me/Consciouztv. All links are in the description box below, as well as scrolling from right to left. And apparently this internal complaint is somebody who is also talking about the tenure at Black and Pink National, and they are indirectly talking about Mrs. Morgan, you know, because there have been people who are bold enough to call her by name, other people who are afraid but still wanting to share their experience and talking about her indirectly in their complaints. This is from a trans man of color in his 20s. So we're going to get into that. The internal complaint, Trey. Is the internal complaint for me.
Okay, I'm back.
Yes. Okay, Bubs is bike, chow. Let me put the link up. Okay, so let's read another complaint. Then we're going to get out of her. This is another internal complaint, girl. We're doing a work of HR over here. My goodness, day. And this account is from a trans man of color. Let's check this out. I've been a long-time supporter and member of Black and Pink. It is one of the few organizations specifically focused on how trans and queer people are impacted by imprisonment. I believe and still believe in the organization's mandate and mission. However, in my time as Black and Pink National's advocacy manager, which is spoken about actually, this is the person that this individual here that we read about the first time. I think this trans man's name is Andrew. Let me see something. Let me make sure. Look at me cross-referencing. Yep. Oh, it's Aaron. Aaron, the former advocacy manager, was also unceremoniously fired. He has detailed his experience here. Baby, these people, they off the chain. Child, my God. However, in my time at Black and Pink National's advocacy manager, I had the opportunity to see how deeply mismanagement and clout chasing have pulled the organization away from its key mission and populations it claims to serve. I'm a trans man of color in my 20s. Like many Black and Pink staff and volunteers, I came to this work out of a personal commitment to abolition, based in part on my own experiences of police violence. What I did not realize is how this organization deliberately recruits young and vulnerable staff who are trans, racialized, and or system impacted as part of a strategy of exercising control over them, of folding them into a family that is just as abusive as many of us queer young folks experience from our blood relatives. Wow, the ultimate grift. One former staff member shared how she was asked to submit her results of adverse childhood experience, which we just read. That's the white trans woman that we had read a few moments ago. Submit her results of adverse childhood experiences to management, aka to Dominique Morgan, which was later used as part of a strategy of control. In a similar vein, I was specifically asked to recount my racist and transphobic experiences with police as part of my job interview. And before I do that, I want to clear up some things about the white trans woman. As we saw from her experience, she was plucked from her garden, brought into a situation she really didn't have no experience in. She was love bombed into the experience. She was told all of the things, you know, oh, you'll be so good for the job, blah, 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 blah. blah. She did not per se know what she was doing. She was put in the filing room of the organization the first day without any knowledge of if that would be her main job or not. And then that first day turned into where she was the entire stint of Black and Pink. And what she did not know is, like a lot of people who have trauma, you really don't know what all your triggers are. And you don't know if a situation is going to be toxic and triggering until it actually is. So she realized in time that, oh, the work that I'm doing is having a terrible impact on my fucking work. I mean, on my mind. And my ED knows that because I had to take a trauma assessment test and still nothing was done and put in place for me to counter all the injuries I'm taking on, dealing with all this trauma from the outside, but it's also triggering all my personal trauma from the fucking inside. And then all the triangulating and love bombing that went on at the surface while her actual needs were going largely unheard and unattended to, etc. A lot of people that Dominique chose, they had to FAFO. None of them are psychics. None of them are Cleo. None of us know what we know until we know it. And it's unfortunate, but yeah, you don't know until you know. And then once it became fully clear to her through her own experience, and then that was corroborated by somebody else's experience with the ED, she was like, yeah, I'm out of here. I got the full picture. I'm a biggity bounce. Nonetheless, getting back to Aaron's account, I was the only person. Oh, let me go up actually. I was specifically asked to recount my racist and transphobic experiences with police as part of my job interview. I was the only person responsible for holding inside member support during my time at Black and Pink. Despite this, my role changed many times and I kept being handed additional pieces of work to take on, just like in the trans woman's experience, such as coordinating chapter meetings and managing external campaigns. I often felt that the inside member needs, which I understood to be core of Black and Pink's work, were pushed aside in favor of external facing projects. When I expressed that I was not comfortable leading that kind of work, my concerns were disregarded. There were over 20,000 incarcerated members, and they constantly wrote in expressing serious health, safety, and medical needs, just like the white trans woman had chronicled. I was told that I was responsible for answering their requests, but that role was always given the lowest priority below organizing and facilitating meetings and doing administrative and organizational work that was not in my role. And as the white trans woman said, those needs did not get met. It was just optics. The program was a shell program. People were writing in to obtain resources that they were never going to get because the ED was not interested in actually disseminating any of those resources. It was just optics, shit that made the ED look good on paper. But the people that those programs and initiatives were designed to help, those resources were not allocated to. And somebody asked a good question earlier in the chat and said, has anybody came forth and spoke positively about her? That's an interesting thing. Not really. You would think that there would be people coming out in the droves. But as we learned from the Hope Giselle survivor piece last year against the activist girls, there's been nothing but negative reviews and shicey shit going on behind the scenes, just like we're finding out through people who have worked professionally and corporately with Miss Morgan, and all these things are alleged, is their account, etc. But you would think, right, that, you know, for the years she's been in this work, that there would be all these character witnesses who would be coming forward. No. Nobody's per se saying anything positive about Dominique. People are deflecting and not centering the conversation around her, but nobody isn't, you know, speaking on behalf of her good quality. There's a consistent word that keeps coming up: love bombing. You would think that even with her trial, right, that she would have had people submitting character witness statements and that her community would have been fighting for her. Well, I guess now we know something that they did then. Because why weren't people writing in letters to the judge? Saying, no, this is an asset. No, this is a... But people were letting that house catch on fire. Very interesting, right? Very fascinating. Somebody says, I don't think that people outside of the Black trans community care about this or Dominique. All the community needs to do is stop giving her life and move on. In general, whenever I tried to ask for support or express concerns, they would be silenced, or I would be made to attend one-on-one meetings with managerial staff where I was not permitted to say what I had to say and where I felt intimidated. Often this would be clothed in a safe space or therapeutic language, while what was actually happening was that what I had to say would be disregarded or treated as irrational. One of my main issues was a lack of support or availability from my direct supervisor. Despite the fact that this individual did not provide me direction or feedback, nor did she, Miss Morgan, care about my well-being. She requested that I address her as mama or auntie, nonetheless. In fact, her behavior was quite like my abusive mother, in that my supervisor demanded unending support and adulation while she did not reciprocate. Additionally, due to the extremely rigid organizational hierarchy, I would be shut out or chastised if I tried to ask questions or get direction from another director. When I tried to express my frustration at this, I was told I was being disrespectful when all I wanted was to get instruction on how to do my job. When I did try to simply guess what to do based on the limited information I had, I would be lectured about how what I did was wrong. Gaslighting. Yet after, there would be, again, no instructions on how to move forward. We read in the last internal complaint from the white trans woman that, you know, she was being set up to fail. This person is saying the same thing. Being set up to fail. Not actually incompetent, but intentionally refusing to educate, skill, and to provide the proper resources for us to do the job correctly, and then want to blame us 100% for failing. One reason I was uncomfortable with doing public-facing work was that I felt tokenized as a trans person of color. I stated repeatedly that I did not want to be an organizational spokesperson. Another staff member in my department was eager to take on panels, talks, and other events, but I was told that because that staff member was white, management would rather I do that work. Any discomfort I had was treated as a failing on my part that had to be overcome. Additionally, I felt that I was demanded to perform a racial identity that was inauthentic for me. I am a North African person, and I was repeatedly lectured by directors about how I came across as white and did not perform blackness in the way they wanted, even though I never represented myself as someone who could portray an African-American experience. Wow. Directors. Okay, so once again, he's indirectly talking about Ms. Morgan, his ED, would often make highly inappropriate comments to me about what they perceived as my privilege and lack of connection to African-American culture, a culture which I never claimed to be part of and would not dream of appropriating. When I baby, at this point, I don't dream of appropriating American culture. When I tried to express that I came from a different cultural perspective, I was told I was being anti-Black. I was treated as being wrong for not adhering to a monolithic idea of what it means to be an African descent person. I even had to endure the humiliation of being told by Black management that a white staff member was more Black than me, something that I never claimed to be in the first place. Since my firing several months ago, it seems that the inside member work has been largely abandoned, and many incarcerated folks informing me that their requests have gone unanswered. Additionally, the organizational chapters which I have been supporting have expressed that they feel abandoned as well. On the one hand, they feel pressure to pick up the inside member support work that National is no longer doing. And on the other hand, they are not receiving communication or support from the National office. My understanding is that my former department continues to devote the bulk of their time to outward-facing projects, while the enormous volume of inside requests are regulated to mere weekly sessions. I do not believe any of these problems are unique to me, and that the tokenization, mismanagement, and lack of support for volunteers and frontline staff are endemic to the organization. I have also seen how other staff who tried to advocate for themselves, the members and the work, were punished or pushed out of the organization. Ironically, for a nominally anti-Black anti-racist organization, this retaliation has overwhelmingly fallen on Black and brown staff members. I am incredibly heartened by the bravery of the current staff unionizing, for only then will the staff be able to take control of their work. However, many of these issues, such as deprioritization of inside members, stem directly from leadership. I join with other current and former staff in calling for the board to lead an accountability process. Oh, that word again. For leadership. Only with acknowledgement of harm and subsequent repair can Black and Pink become the transformative abolitionist organization that our members actually need. So this bitch sparked off an investigation from the Borealis organization, came in, turned Black and Pink allegedly inside the fuck out, and then damn near completely bankrupt and threw the Okra Project as an organization directly and got damn prison along with her ass. For there to be multiple people from multiple organizations from the fake Bell Assistant program where the receipts were fraudulent and forged to other abolitionist programs for incarcerated trans people within the Black and Pink that were also like shell systems and programs that exist, like their skeletal existed, but there was actually no soul to those programs. What it appears has happened is that Dominique moved from nonprofit to nonprofit with the sole intent to seemingly enrich herself, and then created programs that, had they actually been legitimized and fulfilled, would have actually been wonderful as a reality, but created those things to exist superficially so that on record she can continue to look good and have bragging rights about systems that never actually existed for the people they were designed to serve. Now it brings into question, because we have investigations and internal complaints from 3 different fucking organizations that this woman has been an employee unto. And call into question, girl, has there been any real work done aside from surface work, aside from Instagram reels, aside from showing up on panels and saying all the right things and recounting history correctly and breaking down all of the systemic racial oppression, all the sexism and queerphobia, aside from basically being a speaker? There doesn't seem that there has actually been any tangible work done on the philanthropy side. A missionless mission. Bubs.
Yes, I'm here. Hello?
Mm-hmm. Anything that you want to say?
I mean, the evidence is there. The information is there. I think we have a better understanding of what the community at large is looking for, so we don't have to keep asking, what do y'all want? If the answer is right there. Just like how all the evidence and facts and receipts are right there as well. So, and again, if you have these magical receipts that are just going to completely exonerate you, at least in the eyes of the public opinion, you need to drop them for the people. You can't get money from the people and then tell them to pay for the information that quote unquote exonerates you. That makes no sense to me. So again, I'm just curious to see how this is going to go forward. And again, think about the community, because we live in Trump's America. And baby, if these individuals pick this shit up and they try to Black Lives Matter this ish where it harms other people, that's going to be a very interesting conversation. A very interesting one. So that's it for me.
I just saw a comment underneath this post on medium.com about Black and Pink. It says, Black and Pink are in the middle of 4 different lawsuits. This was back in 2022. 3 Black staff members sued over the exact same thing, but y'all didn't want to listen. Them whites got Dominique's fat ass from Nebraska to oppress Black people for money. That bastard is toxic. Google lawsuit Black and Pink. Michael Cox, David Booth, all them getting rich off of the blood of Black incarcerated LGBTQ folks. I'm Trey Rock on Facebook. We should connect because this is 5 years of strong harm. And this is what Gabrielle was also talking about too, just even beyond Dominique. There is a strong exploitative spirit and principality that is presiding over nonprofit as a whole, and that there are a lot of grifters and a lot of people who are making money off of the community and grifting and exploiting the community. That there's a lot of raggediness that exists across the board when it comes to nonprofits. PROPHET of God or PROFITS of God. Apparently she has, but a lot of people ain't checking for it. And she been complaining about the numbers being low.
But that's crazy. If you have such explosive, transformative information, you would think that the girls will be ready to drop it under the comment section like, bitch, are y'all hoes ready to sit up here and compromise y'all YouTube channel?
She made the first mistake of thinking that that's the responsibility of the motherfucking public. No, bitch, you're the one who's guilty, not the public. Why the fuck would anybody pay to exonerate you? Are you dumb? If you wanted to be publicly exonerated, if you wanted to be publicly fucking vindicated, you would have did what the Oka Project did, bitch, which was make the facts and the receipts publicly available. You're going to have the nerve to deflect and word salad and filibuster and then put the information behind a motherfucking paywall in a recession, and while also pleading guilty to creating fraudulent paperwork and grand law. I can't. I cannot. I just can't. It's literally so intellectually offensive that I cannot with this. It don't matter how motherfucking explosive they were. The first thing she did to fuck up was thinking that it was the public's burden to exonerate her. She wants to make money off of you and then burden you and use you to vindicate her. All that benefits her. This is her job. Not yours, not mine, not the chat's. Her job. And just like she was overworking all these motherfucking people she allegedly employed and was corporately adjacent to, bitch, she's doing the same thing to the community girl. Overworking and underpaid girl, because it's all about me. So what you're gonna do. Come over here and pay for Substack too. This pattern is even evident in trying to force the public to do for her what in fact she has to do for herself. But instead, nope. She is looking for maximum profit, maximum benefit, and trying to reverse responsibility onto the public. No, girl, y'all go out there and find the truth about me. Y'all go out there, girl, and put it all together and come over here and pay for the quote unquote receipts that couldn't even vindicate me in a court of law. So how much more would they vindicate you in the court of public opinion, bitch? And you've already been in 3 different interviews. Line, girl. We have done the comparative analysis. And then the Okra Project just put an entire goddamn flat iron to your ass. Cease and desisting any further inquiry from Miss Neek. And now interviews are coming down. Substack numbers are looking low. Because she thought it was all about the journalism. Oh, mad because nobody came over there and got them a piece. Yeah, they might have would have, girl, for free, bitch. You community garbage. What they look like paying to dumpster dive at this point. Are you dumb? Are you stupid? Girl, you're community garbage at this point. And you want the people to pay to be dumpster divers. To dump in your trash can and look around for stolen goods. And half of that shit in the garbage can probably black market and imitation any motherfucking way. Because even with Hope Giselle, girl, even with her being sent apparently all of the information, girl, even Miss Hope still had to be like, that bitch still think we did it and she's still wrong. All it did was make her also feel like, okay, girl, you don't seem to be the only one in the car, in the getaway car. There might be some other problematic parts in this thing, girl, but you're still a thing, Miss Thing. So that tells us all we need to know, girl. And that's all I needed to know, girl, was if the receipts didn't exonerate her, I don't give a fuck about the receipts because ain't nothing but one bitch's name on the motherfucking indictment. And that's the question here. That's the issue here. The grand larceny is the issue. The pattern of Miss Dominique is here. Even if you can point out some problematic behavior in Alana and or in Gabrielle, etc., girl, these girls don't even have a pattern outside of their affiliation with Miss Dominique. But there's a pattern with this particular person who's the face of the community. And LeVar Burton already told y'all hoes, girl, that you ain't got to listen to him, girl. Just it's the reading rainbow.
Butterflies in the sky.
So whether you want to go read through the Borealis organization, bloop, or whether you're going to read through the Okra Project Morgan Files, bloop, or whether you want to go read through, girl, the Morgan Files over in the Black and Pink National, bloop. It's the reading rainbow. But the girls would rather be dizzy with a side park down Bourbon Street, girl, talking about what's the problem. And they just got scammed out of an invite, girl, just 2 weeks prior. Make it make sense. How soon and how easy it is for us to be so dismissive of other people, even after just healing from our own woundedness by the same said person and offering no grace. So many people cannot see the forest for the trees and don't really give a fuck about nobody but themselves. And that's really what it's given. Hope Giselle damn near practically said it, girl. This ain't even my fight. Bitch, how it's not? And you an activist. And you the community's HR. What the fuck you mean? It's not. It absolutely. But if there's anything that's your fight, it would be this. This is the fight. This is your call to action. This is what you're called to put action toward. Mrs. Jiyah, what y'all want her to do? Get off the rainbow. Because it's not working out well for the community. Proximity is not working out well for the community. Mrs. Morgan's presence in the community is only drawing more controversy and putting more vulnerable people in harm's way, because she's also allegedly targeting vulnerable people to take advantage of, pulling people with no experience, like the white trans woman who just sounded off on her experience, the black trans man who just sounded on his experience, Gabrielle and Alana, who were coming from different career paths at the time that they were brought into the Okra Project. Taking people from 0 to 100 was a part of, that was strategy for Dominique. She was putting people in place who, for one, could feel indebted to her forever. So if she ever got caught, she would have a committee of people that would have pledged allegiance to her flag and would do the PR work for her for free. And she never would have to defend herself. But because she's ruined so many relationships, she had to end up doing this herself, which is why she didn't want them interviews. She don't have nobody who can speak for her and speak to a sincere experience across the board from one end to the other. She also chose seemingly inexperienced people so that they could not discern her foolishness because they weren't experienced enough to. They didn't know the system enough to know what the fuck was going on. They came in gullible, and even as Gabrielle said, girl, you know, this was my mentor. She was love bombing me. She was big up in me. She was, you know, doing all of the things. Yeah. Fighting for blind loyalty. Because she knew that she was going to hit a wall eventually. Nobody can get away with it forever. She was setting up her defense from the beginning. Couldn't even do that right. Because like all true narcissists, girl, the horns always rear their ugly head. And that's why she's mad, because she's been humbled by her own failure to grift without being caught. And nobody who she took from rags to riches was weak enough to protect her under fire. Because by the time her fire came, their relationships were already personally corroding and people were already coming to personal revelations. So once the big kaboom happened, it was like, oh, well, this makes sense now. Because this bitch was terrorizing me. And now she being caught in the net of the bigger system. Woo child. Had she played her cards right, had she been good at relationships, if she had just treated Jiyah right, because look at how Jiyah is already tap dancing, bitch, and she's on the rejective end of Dominique. I can only imagine how much Jiyah would have been tap dancing, girl, had Dominique play her cards all the way right with Jiyah. She would have benefited fully from Jiyah's goofiness. Look at how Hope is hopelessly tap dancing for Dominique. Even when Dominique was scratching her eyeballs out and participating in a witch hunt against her ass just last year. My God, I can only imagine had Dominique girl treated Hope consistently right, bitch. Look at how these girls are still going up for her, even though they've been on the outs with her, even though they've had their own personal. I can only imagine. Look at how eager Gabrielle was to see her as a mentor, give her the benefit of a doubt, allow her to come in her halo, and it went from halo to hey ho. Girl, and Gabrielle still don't even want to really put no stank on her name. Gabrielle still is being cute and classy about it.
Halo to halo.
Girl, imagine if she would have treated all these girls right. She would have had an army. She would have on another timeline. On another timeline. It was in the words, it was almost. It almost worked. But in the words of Brandy, bitch, almost doesn't count. But it almost worked, girl. But the Holy Spirit rescued all these motherfucking people before they were going to be used to accidentally, unbeknownst to them, end up shielding and covering for someone that I believe is fully corrupted. That's what they were being used in position to ultimately accomplish, is to be her minions. But she'd been so awful on an anecdotal level, girl, that she wasn't able to accomplish that. There's nobody who can speak good of her good, really. There's people who just trying to find a balance so that they don't, so that they don't have to tip the scales and deal with the backlash, which is inevitably leading to the backlash anyway that they're trying to avoid. Just stand on business. Because when you're in this work, your priority is the people. It's not a person. Yes, it would have been dope for there to have been some sister circles and accountability town halls. Ones that included and didn't include Miss Morgan. One where we could really intellectually wrestle with this circumstance, because intellectually and philosophically wrestling with it, dealing with it, coming up with a plan, coming up with a consensus would allow us to also simultaneously not just deal with the specifics and logistics of Dominique Morgan, but to also finally start building the real blocks of community that could be in place for the future Morgans that will happen. For the future grifters within the community who would have to deal with the community, but the community would be confident in the fact that we could deal with that because we actually have a real sense of community. We're slowly using each inconsistency and betrayal from our allies, from the people that look like us and identify like us, as an opportunity to create more community and more structure and more governance and more community and more structure and more governance. Yeah, this situation is bigger than Dominique, but we're never going to get to the bigger picture if we don't specialize in the smaller picture of Dominique. Bigger pictures are birthed by smaller priorities. Smaller priorities create bigger pictures. You can't get to a bigger picture without a smaller priority. That's why we call it grassroots. Every grass root grew into a system. The women's equality movement started as grassroots. Civil rights started as grassroots. Then it became legislation. Then it became a corporate. Then it became state. Then it became federal. That's why a lot of us are pushing this. It's not about a per se witch hunt against Dominique, but it gives us a practice run to begin creating community so that we can have our own internal governments in place to deal with these type of issues with our allies and with our in-house motherfucking drama, and protect and shield ourselves from the inside out. Because just like in the Black community, all skin folk ain't kin folk, bitch, is the same way for the LGBT community, girl. Just because you identify like me, walk like me, live like me, we under the same umbrella of identity and intersection and orientation and all of that shit, don't mean that we're all equal. Some of us are here to help, some of us are here to hinder. So we got to be diligent. And as long as the system above us exists the way that it does, we're going to have raccoons in every system. And that's why we need our own personal systems so that we can avoid further hemorrhaging. Because it's already bad enough that we got to fight from the outside and we got to fight from within too, bitch. Where can they be rest? The community don't exist. And that's why they're goofy and stupid enough to continue to put money in that bitch's pocket that she has to pay back to the community. Just dumb. 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 Jiyah said that, she said she's never going to work for another nonprofit. I haven't personally heard Ms. Morgan say that. That would be a great idea, but I highly doubt that will remain the case. That's been her biggest access to the wealth, to amassing the wealth. And nobody who's lost without a coin is going to be able to stay, girl, out of them nonprofit unrestricted funds for too long, bitch. Right now, Dominique is just reading the room, girl, to see how comfortable y'all are and are not. And once she realized that y'all comfortable and y'all good and y'all cool, it'll be another nonprofit piece of employment because Miss Mama's is lost without a coin. She said y'all lost without her, but she's lost without a coin. And her coins largely have been coming from her nonprofit work, her nonprofit salaries, her 6-figure salary. That's why she was privileged enough, bitch, to make a $27,000 closet renovation and a rental. Because she had been unlost with a nonprofit coin. April says, question, do you think she tried to weaponize? Oh, yeah. And she's been accused by her constituents of, like, when they would try to reprimand her, hold her ass accountable for her abuse of power, allegedly, and all of this shit, that her deflecting point would be, oh, y'all are being transmisogynic and transphobic. She would weaponize identity politics to avoid accountability. The way that she's now out here doing a press tour and smear campaign and slandering other people to deflect. It's never no accountability. It's always a blame shift. Making you wrong before she could ever be wrong. Because she's a narcissist. She can't be wrong. You're going to always be the problem. Period, point blank. That's it. That's all. Yes, everything is strategy. Yeah, she ain't never going to fuck with Angelica Ross. She never gonna fuck with us, never gonna fuck with that. It's like, girl, please, please rotate, move your ass around, particularly outside of the goddamn community. Everything is strategy. I don't believe that Dominique has a sincere bone in her motherfucking body, bitch. That is a efficient Joanne, the motherfucking scammer, bitch, at the highest motherfucking llama. Bitch went to scamming motherfucking university, bitch. She sat her ass in prison for 10 years, bitch, and mastered the art of these systems, girl. She studied these systems, girl, so that she could know how to take advantage of them. She studied, girl, human nature, girl. She studied human psychology, girl, so she can understand how to get in the system, girl, and bend things accordingly, girl. She's a she's a left-hand path. She's going to use the knowledge for self-gain and self-enrichment, girl, and retaliation purposes, not for the greater good. So at first, it was like, okay, yeah, accountability, if you do this, that, and the third, she should be welcome back. No, girl, Dominique has to be sat down, period. This was her second, she was already in her second chance. Fool me the first time, girl, shame on you. Fool me the first time, fool me the second time, shame on me. Fool me a third time, well, bitch, ain't gonna be no third time.
You just a dumbass.
Because somebody said she obviously has talent. Why would she do all that work to not do the real work? Because there's not a real incentive to do the real work in a system that's not authentic to begin with. The whole capitalistic patriarchal structure we living in is built on greed and pillaging and cheating. It's not built on integrity. That's why you have good people in this system complaining about the fact that good people finish last, if at all. while bad behavior is seemingly rewarded. So what's the incentive in a synthetic system to do the real work when you're not in a real environment, when you're not within a real system? The only people who are doing the real work, despite the fact that they could advance, bitch, if they were willing to suck and fucking pop pussy and defraud and do all of the things, girl, are the people who have a true conscience. The people who would do this work even if no one was looking, even if there was no trophy to be extended, even if there was going to be no crown to earn, even if there was never going to be no plaque on the wall, and no dormitory to be named after, or no statue resurrected in their likeness. We have so many people who are willing to join them because they can't beat them. As the scriptures say, girl, the field is plentiful, but the laborers are absolutely few. That's why Christ was saying, girl, be in the system, but not of the system. You can be in the system and not of the system. So many people abstain from the system every day. They don't participate in social media foolishness. They don't even have social media. They live off of herbs, plants. They grow their own motherfucking food. They create their own motherfucking clothes. They live off of the land. They purchase the land. They live by their own value system. They don't get caught up in the world's religious systems and in the world's normalcies, etc. They homeschool their children, girl. They protect their communities, girl. That's the one thing that we can learn from sundown towns, girl, is that you can have a world within a world. But why do it the organic way? Look at how many white students and how many universities and colleges were exposed over the last decade for white parents basically paying for their children, paying for them A's, paying for those diplomas and certificates by being big donors to the school so that they can have, so that they posture themselves as sponsors in turn for favor to get their kids into prestigious schools, while Black and brown students need DEI programs, bitch, to force these systems to give them a chance. And even only doing that with so many. The world is not fair. That's why I say I am not even against people bending the rules. I'm not even against minority people, baby, doing what they got to do in this system. Because you aren't going to prevail by playing fair in a system that's rigged against you. And that's not a reflection of you. That's a reflection of the fucking system. So I'm with all the Robin Hood shit. I'm with vigilante work, like I said, bitch. If this was that, I wouldn't be here. This wouldn't be a conversation. I honestly wouldn't give a fuck. Me and my homeboy was just having this conversation a few nights ago. I was like, we are really in a real philosophical quarrel right now, because we have absolutely learned that the system is rigged. Mm-hmm. That's why Trump was able to succeed as a pedophile, as a elitist, as a fraudster, and as a hateful, bigoted, self-enriching, self-aggrandizing piece of shit, and was able to ascend to the highest power in the land. The January 6th rioters were rewarded with pardons. Almost was about to get reparations for breaking the law, while Carmelo Anthony is doing 35 years for self-defense and standing his motherfucking ground, because that's how deeply corrupted, insincere, and disproportionate and downright sick this system is. But you are not going to win as in win by trying to be a good person in this fallen world. So what you have to either do is not be interested in winning at all so that you don't have to sell your fucking soul. And at the very least, if you got to come up, bitch, and you got to get up off your motherfucking feet, you got to, if you gonna steal, bitch, if you gonna bend the rules, bitch, if you gonna do what I got to do, the lesser of the two evils is for you to take advantage of those who take an advantage of you to take from systems that historically have sustained wealth and who systemically take. But once again, unfortunately, Mrs. Morgan wasn't on her Robin Hood shit. She was taking directly from systems that the people created, that are for the fucking people, the lesser people, created by lesser people, for lesser people. That's why all the people that you're hearing about with these eternal complaints are all everyday people who were working these systems, employees to these systems. These weren't the elite. These weren't the 1%. These people needed many of these resources themselves that they were employed to make available to other people. Stealing from a system that literally is built off of donors' money. This was a direct assault on marginalized people, not the elites, not self-enriching corporate systems. As I said earlier, it was like stealing from the homeless. You got to be pretty rotten to steal from those who barely have, and then who still have such a humanity that they will give you a slice of their slice just to make sure that you eat. And bitch, you gonna take from them? No, bitch, you don't deserve a place amongst the community. Everything she did was for her, including what she did for other people was for her. And for the people who are going to defend her, bitch, I encourage them to do the Carfax before they go to speak. To risk not sounding like a goddamn fool. Because, bitch, the Carfax are faxing. They're Xeroxing and Xeroxing and Xeroxing and Xeroxing. Girl, even when the lights are off in the office, bitch, the Xerox is Xeroxing, girl.
Shout out to AI.
Back to you, Bubs.
I'm good. Like I said, now it's time to see what these individuals are going to do in reference to community work. They ask a question, what do you want? You have the answer. Let's see if that answer is going to be received. There may be hope. No pun intended. There may be some. And I guess we're going to see.
I don't think that there's any hope for her. This bitch is over 40. Like, right? She's far gone. They're like, if she wasn't going to get it together, and she already had a reason to not even do what she did because she was making a $500,000 salary already. That lets me know that this has become a part of her nature. Like, this wasn't circumstance. Now, can nature be reformed? I mean, she's a human being, so it's always possible. But once again, she's not even getting enough personal pushback for there to even be any incentive that could lead to that. And I wouldn't even believe in the possibility of her being able to truly get it together until I saw the community get it together.
Right.
But as long as the community girl is willing to be dismissive and passive, oh, Miss Mamas have no reason, girl, to self-correct, girl, will continue on in being lost without a coin and searching and outsourcing for a coin to be unlost with. She has no incentive, girl, to reform. The community is not there to apply the proper pressure and accountability to enforce that, and there will be more Dominiques. Don't even be surprised if Miss Dominique herself is a third, fourth, fifth, sixth time repeat offender, because this just opens up and communicates more data to economic predators who are looking for vulnerable communities to take advantage of. Come get you a piece if you lost without a coin. So we're out of here. I'll see y'all probably Sunday. We got to get into Mr. Carmelo Anthony. I wanted to calm down a little bit. I feel well enough to have the Carmelo Anthony conversation. So we're probably having that conversation. We're probably doing the hot topics first thing Monday, etc. Girl, getting into the things. I love you all. Y'all can catch Bubs the GAWD on Bubs the GAWD on Instagram, Bubs the GAWD on YouTube. Shout out your photography page as well, Bubs.
Media by Bubs. Media by Bubs.
Media by Bubs, BUBZ.
Yeah.
And you can donate to the platform at information here. If you use my Cash App to donate to Bubs, just put it in the note. Tell us what you think below. Give us a like, a click, and a view. Share, subscribe. Shout out to all the content creators. Shout out to the viewers. And we will see y'all later. Peace.